This is The Gorge, the podcast where my friends and I get together and gorge ourselves on what happened in the wonderful year of 2024.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's a one way to put it. The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month, you gain access to not one, but two entire podcasts. $5 because you take out a monthly commentary track where we don't feel like playing something, so we talk over it instead. $2 is a grab bag tier, and we may be adding something new and mysterious to it soon.
Ooh.
But don't worry about it. You'll know when you know.
Yeah.
All of that and more at patreon.com/thegorge. However much you want to kick in, from $2 to $5 to $10 to $50. Don't give us $50.
To an ice cream cone.
To an ice cream cone.
If you want to give us $50, just PayPal us the money directly. I don't need Patreon taking a cut of that.
No. And then also, if you want to spend $10 a month, you get pictures of Peanut. Exclusive pictures of the
Secret
Gorge mascot.
pictures.
Peanut J. That's his
What
name.
is the J short for?
Dog.
The J is short for J. Jonah Jameson.
The J's short for dog, but it's spelled weird.
Yeah, that's it. I just realized. Never mind. Ben, you're gonna have to bleep part of that. Don't worry about it.
Peanut J last name.
Exactly. You're gonna have to bleep a part of that, Ben. So
I'll make a note to do that right now.
Make a note of that right now.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Anyways, hey, this is the Gorgies. Well, it went really long last time. And so we have to do a second part. The rare time we actually have to do a second part to the Gorgies, which is fucking crazy.
Much like Lost Belt 7. We're doing this in 2 parts separated by a period of time because we weren't able to finish it on time for the first one.
That's correct. I think that's why Lost Belt 7 is 2 parts. Who knows?
Judging by the amount of combat rooms in the second half, I'm guessing that is in fact why. Or I should say combat notes. Parts where they stop the plot wholesale to go do a fight so that this takes longer.
That's right. We need to make it feel longer.
Wyverns.
I've played enough FGO to know that they can get really flimsy with justifying there being a battle, or it's like, we're gonna have a very serious conversation. Snakes.
Wyverns.
This will come up during this episode, but LB7 has quite a lot of moments of, you got bugs!
Yeah.
Just like, listen, I'm very glad you told us your very tragic backstory, and I hate to interrupt, but there are mudmen attacking us right now.
Yeah, and they do have to be dealt with. So if you for some reason missed part 1, which I guess if you didn't want to be spoiler for Elden Ring, coward. Yeah. Then the way this works is we have a bunch of nominees, and we have to whittle it down to just 3, and then we decide of those 3 which is silver, which is bronze, and which is gold. I realize that's out of order. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
We all know that second place is the real winners. Just keep that in mind as you go re-listen to the first half of this podcast.
And then
that's exactly what that means.
Third place is the real winners because
it's the first loser.
No, because the people who win bronze medals are certifiably happier than silver medalists.
I see.
Yeah, that's how
and
that
then
goes.
when we get to our traditional champion categories, where we nominate something that was personal to each of us.
Yes.
If by Saturn's rules from last time, the other 3 will whittle it down to the 3, and then the person who created the category will get to pick bronze, silver, and gold.
Yeah.
I say.
I didn't think of it until we were recording last time, but having made that joke that we have decided to canonize, I'm glad I ended up going through and adding references for my category.
Oh, good. Okay.
Because it will expedite this recording significantly.
That's true.
Yes.
Well, that being said, let's get to it. Who wants to start? Who wants to announce the first award?
I'll take
We're
it.
sorry we didn't get to your award. We're sorry. We're so sorry. It took us a whole fucking week.
I'm more convinced by Oatsy's performance. I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
Oats will take it first.
That's it. We're sorry. We didn't get to you. It was a very long year, and it was really sad and scary and stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And we just couldn't get to all of you in time.
We also couldn't get to you at the end of last episode, so, it's fine.
Yeah.
So the nominees are Persona 3 Reload, Metaphor Refantasio, Unicorn Overlord, Baldur's Gate 3 again, and Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance.
There's a lot of Atlas in this category.
Yeah.
Also, you might realize the part of why we didn't get to any of these in an intervening week is because every single one of these is an 80+ hour long JRPG.
Yeah.
So we couldn't even take it off the list because it's just too much.
Except Baldur's Gate 3, which is not Japanese but is spiritually it's spiritually a JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's an old-fashioned CRPG, which is
It's
to say,
got
like
enough,
a JRPG. Obviously.
It's got enough porn on Pixiv that makes
Yeah.
it a JRPG.
I've seen you only draw Shadowheart the way people draw Shadowheart if it's a JRPG.
Correct. I guess I think we should cut Persona 3 because I'm not really that sorry I didn't get to it.
Yeah, I honestly
Okay.
I honestly kind of agree because like of the 3 Atlas RPGs in it, it's the one that I realized us having it on here. I'm literally never going to make time for.
Oh,
I probably
don't
won't
play it.
either.
Yeah, no, I'll never play it. So
There's-
actually, I'm not that sorry.
The funny thing is like as much as I respect it and admire Persona 3 for it being like the genre definer that it is, I have no desire to play that game a second time. Whereas I'll go back and play P4 and P5 like whenever I want.
it's got some real Silent Hill or not Silent Hill. Why did I say that? Resident Evil 4 remake vibes, which is like, I mean, I get it, but also
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Persona 3 is right over there. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
I guess it is also the problem of not just Persona 3's right over there, Persona 3 Portable's right over there, which has the FemMC with her alternate social links and significantly more enjoyable tone.
Correct.
And the decision to just go, no, we're not ever doing that is like insane to me.
Yeah,
Now
it basically like solidified the fact that I'll probably never buy that game. So
Now that being said, Disturbing the Peace is a fucking banger of a song.
fantastic song, absolutely. I mean, it's modern Atlas, so the game looks great and the music is fantastic, like always. But that's about it.
It is the game that deserved this caliber of remake versus Persona 4.
Yes, which doesn't need a remake, 100%. Yeah.
Which much like God Hand, they should remaster Persona 4 and it's just the same game.
Yeah.
I would have likely actually made time for Metaphor Refantasio if it, like Persona 3, had a lot of front-loaded Lotus Juice rapping. However, it does not.
Yeah.
Which is deeply tragic. I'm sure that the soundtrack in that game is good. I don't know. I haven't listened to much of it, and I literally, of the two or 3 hours I did play of that game, could not even remotely describe to you what a single piece of music sounded like.
Right.
Out of my brain like water through a sieve. But some Lotus Juice would have improved that.
Massively improved it, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I don't feel too bad about that one. Okay, I do have to say we have to disqualify one of these just off principle.
One more. We do have to get rid of one more before we can look at numbers.
No, I mean we just have to disqualify it because we did get to Unicorn Overlord. You did, Ben.
That's true. Yeah, I did play a portion of it. Yeah.
But Phil, here's the thing. By that dent, we should disqualify Baldur's Gate 3 instead, because not only did I get to that, I finished it completely.
Damn, that's actually a good point.
Then
we might actually have to take
I think we might have to take Baldur's.
Which one am I the most sorry about not getting to? Probably Unicorn Overlord, but that's neither here nor there.
I think I'm more sorry that I didn't finish Unicorn Overlord than I am that I didn't start Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3, I'm sorry, I consign you to the Grey Text Dimension.
That's correct.
We have our top 3 now.
We have our top 3. I know what I'm voting for. This is an easy choice now, looking at our three.
Okay, what is your pick for gold?
Metaphor Refantasio.
I'm voting for Unicorn Overlord.
Okay.
Because it came out so early in the year, I really don't have an excuse. And also, a new Vanillaware game came out, and I haven't even touched it. Right?
Yeah, the problem
and they need your money more than Atlas does.
That's true. But
they keep almost going they keep almost going bankrupt every time they make one video game.
I know.
Saturn, did you at least buy Unicorn Overlord?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, good. So then you at least spared it the fate that Midnight Suns got.
Right.
Yeah.
By buying it on time.
Yeah.
I think I am gonna vote for Metaphor. Just because I was really, really excited for Metaphor and then just didn't even bother.
Couldn't make the, and by all accounts, like I was waiting for other people to talk about it. By all accounts, it's good. The writing is good. The game itself is good. It has immaculate design and it has a fucking banging soundtrack. It's just fantasy Persona.
I have heard the famous hater Chris Wolfhart refer to it completely sincerely as an immaculate super game.
Damn.
That's high respect, yeah.
That's fuck.
And don't get me wrong, Chris Wolfhart does have a lot of bad opinions, but also him just unambiguously going, nah, this is a 10 out of 10 is like, oh, okay. I am a similar hater brain to him, where I cannot enjoy anything without finding something to nitpick about it.
Sure, absolutely.
So him just going, no, this is a 10 out of 10 makes me never want to go back to other Persona games, because why the fuck would I? Goes
Right.
oh, okay, shit.
Everything I hear about the class system in Metaphor is like I'm salivating at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And just it has immaculate design. It is so beautiful to look at that it's disgusting, right? It was a game made in a lab for me, and I just haven't made the time for it. So that is the one I actually am sorry about not playing. The other two, But Metaphor, I am genuinely man, I should have made time for it. Maybe this year.
Oats, what is your vote going to?
My problem is that nothing on this list I'm particularly sad about missing outside of Baldur's Gate.
Oh, that's funny.
Couldn't care about any of the Atlas games, and I've never been, I've always, for the most part, bounced off the aesthetic. I just like Persona 4 because it's, story-wise, it's got some Twin Peaks vibes that I enjoy. Otherwise,
for sure.
It's not really my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as bad as I feel about Unicorn Overlord, if I vote for it, that just means we have a tiebreaker, and it's still probably going to get second place anyway, so I'm just throwing it for Metaphor so we can just move on.
That's
Okay.
fair.
That's fair.
Metaphor takes it?
I accept it. We can give Unicorn Overlord a Valorous, not Valorant, fuck Valorant. We can give it a Valorous silver medal. Shin Megami Tensei, I'm sorry, you get a respectable bronze. I will get to you, but I don't feel that bad for not having done so yet, because I did play 95% of the original one, 4+ years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 is a game that I would probably enjoy in theory, but I don't. I've only played a handful of the actual Megaten games, and they're fine. They don't really speak to me that super hard, so they're fine.
I think you'd like the vibes of it, at least.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, the thing that I think that the Shin Megami Tensei games ultimately do a little bit more interesting with the actual combat compared to Persona, because the Persona games tend to simplify quite a bit.
Sure.
But ultimately the problem is or not the problem, but the thing about Shin Megami Tensei is it's all the dungeon and combat shit, every last bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to play Pokemon for adults, you're not going to get a whole lot out of it, because that's really all it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's that and extremely sick vibes and
Sure.
kind of Fate Grand Order-esque relitigations of weird mythological things and things of that nature. But it's either you're there for that or you're not.
Right. Maybe eventually.
Someday. It's out on a real platform finally.
Oh, I know. Finally, I can actually play it on a platform that functions. Looking forward to the Switch too.
I will say that, like, even just mentioning the name Unicorn Overlord has me, like, looking at the pill bottle, like, I should probably. What if I played a little bit more Unicorn Overlord?
Play more Unicorn Overlord. Yeah.
You play more Unicorn Overlord.
I want to take this. I want to take this next one because
Go for it.
It personally pisses me off a lot. The Twin Awards for least necessary remake and worst executed remake. I already know the winner of this category, but we're going to take it the legitimate way anyways. And our nominees are The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, Silent Hill 2 Remake, Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, and Braid Anniversary Edition.
I would also like to extend an honorable mention to one that was on that list that did not make the cut, Metal Gear Solid Delta, which we had on this list from basically as soon as we made the Gorgies list this year, and only removed it when we realized that game ain't coming out this year, despite what they continue to insist.
No, it might
2025, and they're still saying coming out 2024.
It might still come out this year.
It might still come out in 2024.
I pray that 2025 Gorgies does not have this category. I hope to God day, there is not enough things to make a category out of.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing I ask. Please, God, please. I already know the winner, like I said, but we'll do this legitimately. So the thing to cut is least necessary.
I think... Well, if we're talking about, like, the winner's going to be the least necessary and worst executed or whatever, I do think what we should nix early is Luigi's Mansion 2, not because it's good, but because it is at least as necessary insofar as that's a 3DS game. You can't buy that. You can't buy that anymore.
That's true.
That's not in print anymore. It does serve a purpose of some kind, even if it's for sake of the game it sucks ass.
Yeah.
And in a similar fashion, didn't Beyond Good and Evil come out in the GameCube era?
Yeah, that was a GameCube PS2 game. Like that is the nicest thing Ubisoft has done in a while is acknowledge that Beyond Good and Evil exists.
Oh, go ahead, Oates.
Because, like, that, as far as I can remember, never got a PC port, did it?
It did, but it's a straight port of the PS2 version, and I don't think it's available.
The PS2 version was actually worse than the GameCube one for whatever reason. Yeah. So okay.
Now I will say,
still brings it to, like, it out of all of them, least necessary. It doesn't quite. I don't think it quite qualifies.
Now I will say in its defense of not cutting it immediately, is that the 20th Anniversary Edition does add remake content that is supposed to lead into Beyond Good and Evil 2.
See, you're right in that sucks, but I do also think it's objectively funny.
I think that's funny. I think that qualifies it for being least necessary because it's not necessary to acknowledge a game that will never come out.
That might be true, but it has to meet both qualifications.
Have you told that to Amazon Pictures? Because they did recently put out a thing that has a dead video game.
That's right. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
They put out, like, that Concord lore thing, and then Concord had been dead for, like, a month at that point. That's so funny.
What I'll say, if we still need time to think of Beyond Good and Evil, what I think we definitely can gray out is Braid Anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, no, actually, no, I think it's okay to leave that. I was going to say, we should get rid of it because no one wanted it, so it's completely useless, but I think that means it's actually still has to stay in contention.
That's true. It is unnecessary to remake Braid.
We need to point out, Braid came out as a Steam game, and it got a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It is the least of least necessary.
I'm gonna say something very radical here.
Mm-hmm.
In that I think we should cut Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, because yes, it's a PS4 game, but they did that thing where they're like, we made it play like the sequel.
Actually,
And
no, go ahead.
And they fixed a lot of the reverse shot cutscenes are making them a bit more dynamic.
No. Because they also made the game look worse. They also made the game look significantly worse. I'm going to be even more radical. I don't think we need to have The Last of Us 2 on here. Not that I think it's a good game or that it needs to exist, but it is a straight port of Last of Us 2. It is perfectly functional. They didn't really change anything about it. Like, it's not like The Last of Us 1 remastered, where, like, all of the charm of that game has been sanded off of it. It's just a next-gen port of The Last of Us 2. It's fine.
This is the true tragedy of this being the twin awards for least necessary and worst executed. Because you're right, The Last of Us Part 2 remastered is just The Last of Us Part 2. So it's not the worst executed. But it's also just The Last of Us Part 2, which is a game that you can put on a PS5 with zero effort and did not need a completely full price, which makes it like the pinnacle of least necessary. It's not even a remake. Actually, no, hold on. No, I'm actually going to say, I think Sarah's right. I think we remove Last of Us Part 2. I don't think it's really a remake. I think they just put the game on a new disc. I think it's just a re-release.
I think you might be right.
I think we have to dishonorably discharge it from this list.
Disqualified for not meeting the criteria. Yeah.
Not even a remake.
I'm gonna give it a shame, extra light gray, and also strikeout because it pisses me off.
The problem with this category is that we have 1, 2, 3. We have 5 nominees on here that are basically just ports.
Right.
And then we have one that's an actual remake. But I'm still not sure if it's the worst, if it's the least necessary remake.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a suggestion. This is the twin awards for least necessary remake and worst executed remake. So I'm going to make a bold proposition right now with these 4 that we have. We still have a bronze medal. We still have a silver medal. We have 2 gold medals, one for least necessary and one for worst executed.
No, because I want to give the gold to both.
Yeah. And I disagree because I will definitely give worst executed to the one you're thinking of, but I do think that there's one on this list that is definitely less necessary.
No.
Because here's the thing. I know that there are ways in which you can play your chosen nominee on a PC that are just whatever, but it is also a game that has no official way to buy it for the last better part of it, over a decade.
No, absolutely not. I still think that it's the least necessary, considering this. I'm a hard liner on this one, folks.
Well, we can
change my mind.
Yeah,
I don't need to convince you. Our votes are our votes. What I'm saying is, I'm saying we should still have 2 gold medals, and if you want to give yours the vote for both, I think that's okay.
Okay, that's fine, acceptable. But I also just think we probably could just cut Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition.
Okay, you know what? I'm reading this over again. I think I'm going to agree with that because I don't think the Beyond Good and Evil remake is executed poorly. I think it is a fairly acceptable remaster of that game.
Graphical problems in the beginning, and then they patched those.
All right,
out of all of them, I think it was the one that actually was required. That was a necessary remake. It pulls it out of a gen hell that has been in for a long time.
Yeah, well, we'll give it, with Luigi's Mansion 2, the honorable distinction of having been eliminated from the podium. You were a decent enough remake that you managed to avoid the cut.
Exactly. Beyond Good and Evil and Luigi's Mansion 2 fulfill the purpose by existing.
And that's my biggest problem, before we start talking about the big one, my biggest problem with the Horizon Zero Dawn remake, yes, they modernized some gameplay elements, yes, they unfucked the reverse shot cutscene stuff, but 1, you can still just play that game on a PS5, you can take that disc and you can stick it in a PS5 and it works just fine, and 2, because they switched from pre-rendered cutscenes to end-engine cutscenes, everything got super fucked up and ugly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for those two reasons alone, that makes it least necessary and worst executed. It meets both criteria, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's why Horizon actually deserves to be in here more than The Last of Us. Not that I like The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. I do think it's least necessary.
I mean, like, I fully agree with that argument.
Yeah. No, I get, that makes total sense to me. And Braid, for different reasons, least necessary because you didn't do anything. It's still Braid.
You worst executed it just because it's the same game, but a game you could already buy on Steam. What?
Yeah.
Now you're charging more money for it?
I also don't think they added anything to it other than more achievements.
You fucked it up.
Yeah. And Braid, by all accounts, by all accounts, Braid is a game that already looked fine. Like, you can't really improve on its visuals.
Braid also has the debuff of I don't like its creator. So
yes, that helps.
So I mean,
Braid also has the debuff
of
being
Last of Us 2, but
Braid also has the debuff of like there was never a point at which Braid was like smart and we just like grew up. Braid has always been a pretentious piece of shit, and it being so like it being so stuck into like the early indie game cultural like oeuvre of touchstones or whatever, it's just baffling to me. That game's always sucked.
That's correct.
This is what the Braid remaster looks like, by the way.
Is it any different? Let me see.
It better look exactly how I think it does.
They're identical.
It's the same.
I like literally it just looks like the sprites were run through Waifu 2X. Mm-hmm. Like the cannon looks like the cannon looks like a little bit sharper because presumably it was run through Waifu 2X.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Now,
yes.
the obvious winner.
There is only one answer. Sorry. Yeah. There's only one answer. It's Silent Hill 2. It's a game that offends me. Like, I can't even look at it. I hate it. I hate that game. I know everybody's like, no, but it's good. No, it's not good. It's not good. It is competently made. It's a Marvel movie of a video game. It is good by default because Konami was keeping a close eye on Bloober Team, but like, it's still 3 times too long. Like, they added a bunch of stupid horse shit, right? So like, and that's why.
Well, that's the thing, Sarah.
It disqualifies it from being least necessary. Like,
well, Sarah,
that's why.
The thing is, they didn't add a lot to it.
No,
they padded
it. They just padded everthing. That's what I should say. Yes.
Oh, and it's worse too because and I will say, like, I think if we are sticking to 1 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze, Silent Hill 2 is also getting my vote, to be perfectly clear.
Yeah.
It's not bad enough that they made it 3 times as long and added no content. There are parts of that thing where when the things they change actively ruined, like, the theming and text of the narrative from the original.
Like what?
Like the, oh my god, who's the girl with, you know I'm bad with names. What's the girl with the knife's name?
Angela.
Angela? Her fight has a part in it that, like, completely ruins, like, the bit from the original game of her actually being the one who is, like, completely solely responsible for killing her trauma, right?
Right.
Because, like, as James, you smash through TVs that are her parents saying abusive shit to her. Which is, like, which, A, takes away from her part of the arc, but also makes it seem like James cares more about other people than he does, which is none at all. It's like a complete fundamental misunderstanding of the text of the game. Put that fucking in there. It pisses me off.
The things that they did change and the way that Silent Hill 2 Remake ends up playing out, reminds me a lot of Downpour.
Yeah. In
which one of the things in Downpour is that you have like choices you can make that affect the actual backstory to the point where you can make it so that the protagonist of Downpour didn't actually do anything that bad.
Right.
And was like kind of like a good person and just ended up in Silent Hill by accident. Mm-hmm. Which is not how Silent Hill works.
Right, yeah, it's very silly. It's this total, I don't know, like, misunderstanding of, like, the game, like, at a fundamental level. It's the padding, it's the all this additional shit with every character, like,
the thing about you know what makes Silent, because people compare like Silent Hill 2 to the RE2 remake, right, where it's like, well, yeah, but they did the same thing where they did a over-the-shoulder camera and they expanded on it and whatnot, but it's like the difference being that Silent Hill, when you do psychological horror, when you are doing a more narrative-driven game like this, like it really matters what you're doing to this remake a lot more.
To the narrative, yeah, exactly. Like the thing that really just pisses me off about the remake. I mean, there's a lot that pisses me off about the remake. But like really, really high up there is that Saturn's right. There is no way to play the original Silent Hill 2. So instead, you have to buy this bloated piece of shit, right? Like you have to buy this $70, excuse me. This is a $70 video game. You have to buy a $70 bloated piece of horse shit in order to play a game that is a fraction as interesting as the original Silent 2. It shouldn't exist. It never needed to exist. I hate it. I don't like looking at it. I think it sucks. I hate that game. Fuck it.
Yeah,
So
I think that's the clear winner.
Obviously, it has to. I'm sorry. I know. I'm like very, very. I hate this game.
Well, yeah, Silent Hill 2 is like one of your favorite games of all time. Like
it is literally probably the single most influential video game I've ever played in my entire life. Yeah, like just in terms of like being like, oh, this is what video games can be, right? Like it's up there with like Final Fantasy VII and Devil May Cry of like having like a light bulb moment of understanding that video games can be like something like so and that video games don't necessarily need to be good, right? Like Silent Hill 2 has really clunky controls and bad camera and like when it like and you know it runs weird. It has all these problems and it has strange dialogue and odd voice acting.
These things are important to the game's identity.
Yeah, exactly. And like all of that means that like, yeah, on paper, Silent Hill 2, and when Silent Hill 2 came out, it got a bunch of 7s, right? Because people were like, well, yeah, on a technical level, this game isn't good. If you're just looking at like its individual pieces, this game is fine.
I'm just realizing now, part of the reason I've been thinking about God Hand so much lately is because of the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Yeah.
Where it's like the things that make Silent Hill 2 bad are the things that make it Silent Hill 2.
Exactly.
And fundamentally changing them robs it of its unique identity.
Giving James a fucking dodge. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? I don't know.
I think they should have doubled down and given James an Estus flask.
They should have doubled down and given James Witch Time from Bayonetta.
put him in high heels and like a slick bodysuit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If James Sunderland could do a rainstorm, Silent Hill 2 would be better.
At least
you're not going to hear me argue to the contrary.
Yeah, no, but like that's why I'm very heated about it. It's just because Silent Hill 2 means a lot to me as just like this understand. And now it's like, no, I think bad games can still be good. That's why I think Drakengard 3 is really fucking good, even though it kind of sucks.
It reminds me a lot also of the MST3K reboot, right?
Yeah.
Where when you take it away from the mini golf aesthetic, the indoor golf aesthetic that was the classic Mystery Science Theater, it loses a big portion of its identity. Yeah, you're technically fixing things, but they didn't need they weren't need to be fixed. They weren't problems.
If it's not a bunch of schlubby dads from, Wisconsin making fun of bad movies and making props out of styrofoam, is it really MST3K?
Yeah.
No.
No. Like, yeah, you got Felicia Day and Patton Oswalt.
Why?
Why? Why? It's the same thing. You're right, Ben. Totally. The scrungliness, I don't even remember. There's that saying that, like, all the imperfections of a medium will eventually become what defines it, right?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, film grain and pixelation and stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff, yeah.
Like, I silver medal.
Horizon Zero.
Horizon gets the silver medal for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't need to exist.
Can I argue for Braid instead? Because I hate him and want him
I know. I hate Jonathan Blow. Absolutely, please.
The thing is, like, Horizon Zero Dawn, unnecessary remake. Maybe debatable whether it's good, whether you prefer the first game's gameplay or the second, I guess. But it's a game that hypothetically people want to play and could be encouraged to play for merit of being an experience worth having.
Sure.
Braid is like if they did a remake of Yick.
Which they did do.
Yeah.
Well, he basically has relitigated that to the point of incorporating its sequel into it, apparently.
Interesting.
But the thing about Braid is that it was really trite in one note when it came out in like 2008 or 2009 or whenever the fuck that was. Actually, maybe earlier because it was like one of the early Xbox Live indie game darlings. And it was dumb then, and they didn't add anything to it. So it continues to be not worth playing at all to anyone. Not even as like an intellectual curiosity. Mm-hmm. Which is why I would vote for it for silver.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. Sure. I hate Jonathan Blow. We'll give it to Jonathan Blow and fucking Braid Anniversary Edition.
The biggest cultural impact that Braid ever had is the indie game movie. Where we got to see Jonathan Blow's soul fall out of his asshole while he watches Soulja Boy play the game.
Yeah, that's really just to realize just like what a weird freak that guy is.
Yeah,
right?
just like watching Jonathan Blow like get like very emotional because Soulja Boy doesn't understand his brilliance. And then the world has to point and say, "This is who is playing your game, Jonathan Blow.
Yeah.
All your efforts were for naught."
The Rube's like your video game, and that pisses him off for some reason.
He should be lucky anyone likes this fucking useless piece of shit video game.
I remember watching that. We watched that because I went to a game production college. Mm-hmm. And I remember we watched that movie for one of our classes, and just like all of us just silently chuckling as Soulja Boy. It's like, yeah, man, there's no point to this game. It's just you hop on enemies in reverse time, and Jonathan Blow is like, oh no.
Somebody way cooler than me likes my video game, or doesn't like my video game.
They don't understand the deep narrative I'm building.
No one cares. Alright. Who's next? It's either Saturn or Ben to do the next announcement. One of you.
I will do this one.
I think it should be Ben because I want to do the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the Why Did You Release All of These in the Same Year award. The nominees are Type Moon for Tsukihime Remake and Fate Stay Night.
Brutal.
Atlas for Persona 3 Reload, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, and Metaphor Refantasio.
Uh-huh.
The team behind UFO 50 for making UFO 50. And Nintendo for releasing Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door and Mario & Luigi Brothership.
So, I'm gonna say my hot take here is yes, they're JRPGs, but Nintendo notoriously make the shortest JRPGs of all time. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, if I decided to no life it, I would defeat Mario or the 1,000 Year Door in a single day.
Especially with all the stuff they did to make it go faster.
I was gonna argue instead for cutting UFO 50 because unlike the rest of these, UFO 50 releasing all of these at once is part of UFO 50, and those things have
that is
like
also true.
It's a collection. Those things, there are like meta games that interact with each other in that.
It's not a game. It's not multiple games tripping over each other to the finish line.
Right.
They did it like that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with making the other three at least 40+ hour games that are vying for your attention.
And that's okay because I do however agree with Oates, and I think we can at least cement the Nintendo ones as the bronze in this category for...
Yeah, me too.
Well, I mean, it's actually realistic that you could play both of those in the same year. Not that I personally want to play both of those in the same year, but like you could.
They were spaced out well enough that you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can cleanly give that to bronze.
Yeah.
In that case, I gotta check.
But the problem is that Tsukihime Remake and Fate Stay Night were like within 2 months of each other.
Yeah, I was literally Googling that. They're like back to back, basically. Like
how it's and like you are right, and it is weird because but this is also kind of the cadre of it too, though, or the cadence of it too, because like only like in December of last year or the year before rather, we got MiHoYo on Steam, right, which is only a couple months before that, and it's very clearly Type Moon just going, oh fuck, we didn't put out any of these things to the West. And as evidenced by Samurai Remnant, more people are buying this globally than domestically by a really significant share.
It's really funny.
My counter argument to those, it's insane for those two to have to release so soon together. But some people are just sickos and are going to play both. In what world would even the most diehard Atlas fan play 100-hour JRPG followed by 2 75, 80-hour JRPGs followed by 100+ hour JRPG? Why'd you put these all out in the same year?
The thing is, Persona 3 Reload. Right. I think Persona 3 Reload and Vengeance were also relatively on top of each other.
They're pretty close.
They're more spread out than Tsukihime and Fate Stay Night. But here's the thing. In the time it would take you to read all of Tsukihime Remake and all of Fate Stay Night Remake, you will maybe have finished Metaphor and not have touched either of the other two Atlas games.
I think Rialto New is longer than that.
How long's Rialto New? Like 40 hours? 50?
No, it's closer to it. Yeah, it's like an 80-hour visual novel.
How long is Tsukihime?
Tsukihime is not that long. I think Tsukihime is like...
I think the remake is like close to the 50 mark.
30, 40,
Google's saying 36 and a half, so let's round it to like 35. And then let's say, how long is Fate Stay Night?
It's pretty long. It's like 80 hours, I think.
Let's see. Survey says 50 to 80. Someone here says 60. Okay. Either way, like let's be kind and say like the other one's 35 and this one let's say 75, right?
Sure. Perfect.
And so you come out to 110 hours for Fate Stay Night Remake and Tsukihime, approximately. Depending how completionist you are, that might be enough that you finish Metaphor ReFantazio.
I think
maybe.
I think the other thing we need to consider about this one as well is that Persona 3 Reload released on top of Rebirth. So if you are a JRPG fan,
if you're a sicko, then
you're just pissed off.
Because and remember, it also came out on the heels of Infinite Wealth.
Yeah.
So you're jumping from Infinite Wealth, which is an 80-hour JRPG, to having to juggle Reload and Rebirth. And then have to drop that to get to Vengeance, and then maybe get to Metaphor.
Because like the release windows for each of these games, like Reload is March-ish, Vengeance was July-ish, and
June or July, something like that.
And Metaphor was October-ish, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
And that's a pretty decent window between each. And I gotta point out, this is the most important distinction. This is the only company that did 3 of these motherfuckers. The other 2 that are in like nomination contention, it's just 2 games. So I also think it should be Atlas. I think Atlas gets the gold here. I think Tsukihime Remake and Fate Stay Night both coming out in the same year and being relatively long. And I guess if you wanted to be crazy, you could also include LB7 in there, but not really because it didn't finish in 2024. It's still... it's just a lot of video game from Atlas in 1 year, right?
Here's the other thing I will say about Tsukihime Remake and Fate Stay Night, which is that, yes, they are incredibly long. But if you're going to play the Fate Stay Night official release, there's a 70% chance you've already played Fate Stay Night. I don't think the English version of Fate Stay Night is drawing in a lot of new fans.
There's honestly a good chance that you are like me, and you might even be someone who hasn't read these things yet and bought them just to send Type Moon a message.
That's correct.
I will continue buying your shit, please.
Spoilers are not a concern for people who are buying the Fate Stay Night official Western release.
Fate Stay Night.
True.
Yeah.
You already know all about boiled lobster and so on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fate Stay Night's official release exists for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to free Fate fans from the agony of somebody asking you the question, well, where do I start if I want to get into Fate? Read the visual novel. It's on Steam for $20. Leave me alone.
It's more of a courtesy at this point.
It is. It's a kindness because like you can be like, you can pirate Real Sanua and you'll have to install this and do that and switch, languages over to Japanese and then you'll be great. Or you finally can just like curse somebody with Fate by buying it for them on Steam and being like, wow, I'm done.
I did it.
Amazing.
And I don't know if anyone has done this yet, but if you're a real purist, I'm sure someone is working on the ability to mod back in the porn.
I would be shocked if they haven't already put the porn back in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like it's good that they're both out and you can play them. I will say it pisses me off that Tsukihime Remake is not on Steam for some reason.
Some godforsaken
Yeah, that's
reason.
weird.
Mihoyo is, and Fate Stay Night is. Tsukihime Remake though? No.
So weird. I don't understand.
They're strange gamers over there.
I wanna
Everybody, please do the Stay Night route. I can't be the only one who's read it.
I know. I'm getting to it.
No, that's okay.
It's the first one.
We can just watch the Dean anime.
No, we
Ben,
can't.
I'm gonna do horrible things to your.
Hey, look, it's how I got into Fate.
Ugh.
I watched the Dean anime.
You watched the Dean anime and then proceeded to watch and participate in other Fate Stay Night things?
The strongest man I know. Ben
God's bravest soul.
Look,
just saluting Ben, single tear rolling down my face. Just like,
look, A liked the Dean anime. They had a whole meme about it.
A likes sniffing their own farts, so like that's
A is a
that's
collection
normal.
of the dumbest motherfuckers you've ever met on the internet. Who? No.
The Dean
I
anime.
say this including myself and also all of us who in the past ever posted on 4chan.
Yeah.
No one who posts in 4chan has taste
No,
or intelligence.
Sorry. Bad opinions,
Anything.
bad opinions all.
I will say that
Okay.
talking about the hypothetical person who mods the porn back in reminds me of the of how the person who modded it back in Miranda's butt shots in Mass Effect 2 for the Mass Effect 2 remaster is the person who modded them out of the original release.
Yeah.
That right there is
That's the funniest fucking thing in the world. I love that.
Hero.
That person should be on an FBI watch list because you have just described the median voter.
And then
Indian American voter.
someone responded to that revelation with a picture of Morden going, "Had to be me. Somebody else might have gotten it wrong."
Yeah. I remember that one.
Oh god. Alright, Saturn, take the category you've been looking forward to.
This is going to be perhaps the most specific category that has ever been at the Gorgies, and I am including our champion categories in this. This is the least racist foray into Central and South America in an ongoing Asian-developed live service game in 2024. If I had a nickel for every time this has happened, I would have 15 cents. But if you count New Zealand companies that are owned by Tencent, I would have 20 cents, which is a lot of time for one. It's a lot of nickels for 1 year.
It's a good thing New Zealand also has nickels.
Yeah.
So you still have 4.
Okay, I'm going to say the one we should cut right now. I'm going to say right now is not. Read the categories first, Saturn.
So, our nominees are Tyrol from Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail, Natlan from Genshin Impact, Nahui Mictlan from Fate Grand Order, and an honorable mention for Utzal in Path of Exile 2.
We actually don't need to cut anything because we've got an honorable, like Utzal is just an honorable mention because as we note in the editor's note, Grinding Gear Games is based in New Zealand but owned by Tencent. So they don't really count. So we actually do just have 3 nominees, right?
Yeah, we can whittle this down.
Okay. All right. In that case, I will say my nominee for bronze is Natlan because I know there's no brown people in that one.
That's correct.
There's also
And this is the least racist.
There's like no brown people in Nahui Mictlan either.
No, here's the thing. There's one brown person in Nahui Mictlan, which is more than not one.
Okay. Except
it's
we're not counting Nito Alter as the brown person.
No,
right?
there's a character.
There's a second brown person in Nahi. Okay, then.
There's a I don't think they have like a servant incarnation or anything. I think it's just a character.
Okay, cool.
But in that regard, I will remind everyone this is nomination for least racist.
Yes, least racist.
I would feel comfortable just giving bronze to Not Lawn at a thing. If there were more entries, it would have been disqualified already.
Because it's just racist.
There are not that many entries, though. Yeah. It would be extremely funny to disqualify it to give bronze to the honorable mention, but I don't think that's fair. Because also, I'm going to be real, I don't think Utsal is much better.
Are there any brown people in Utsal?
I don't know, but it is basically you go to like the Aztec Ancient Aliens pyramid. Like you go and it's just like you go to a jungle and there's people with feather headdresses and there's a ziggurat and whatever. You know, sure. Like it's the most like fucking edgelord dark fantasy. Just like I don't actually care about this place. I'm just gonna slap some shit down. Right.
Then yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Then bronze is Nahui Mictlan, just because
Natlan.
No, excuse me. I'm gonna say silver is Nahui Mictlan.
Yeah.
Because like it's got 2 brown people in it, so acceptable. And honestly, the thing about Dawn Trail is that like
it could have been worse.
It's actually pretty good.
It's pretty good. Like it's
pretty good.
It's clearly a mishmash of different American culture, like different of the Americas. Like North and South America. Like it's a mixture of their cultures. And it's clearly not meant to be, it's not like, oh, this is just Brazil. It's like, it's a mishmash. They are taking elements from different cultures and blending it into a fantasy culture.
You've got Brazil, you've got Peru, you've got Mexico, you've got the like American Southwest. There's a lot of brown characters. There's a lot of like good voice casting for those characters.
Very clever understanding of like it isn't just like, oh yeah, there's a lot of Olmec imagery in there. There's also Olmec culture in there too, like an understanding of like the food that folks would eat in certain regions.
Now I will say, and I don't think this changes the placement of these at all, but I do have to stress this is the least racist foray into Central and South America, and we cannot in good conscience count anything that happens north of the Great Bridge.
Yeah,
correct.
That's true.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. Unfortunately, Cowboy Town doesn't count, but
Cowboy Town doesn't count.
However, the stuff that's out there in the Central and South America analog is, at the very least, for the most part, thoughtfully considered with how you would adapt these things the way you would like a European culture into fantasy without just going like, here's the Aztecs.
Right.
And then you clearly depict a Mayan.
Right, exactly.
It's all very like... Oh, go ahead.
A thing which basically did happen to Nahui Mictlan at some point in development, which they put significant effort into correcting for the full release.
Yeah. They're not doing a thing where we're like, France, as like people walk by in like lederhosen and bassoons.
Yeah.
Well, the important context to note is that Nahui Mictlan, when they originally like showed like what the 7 Lost Belts were, was very clearly in Brazil and was moved to Mexico through retcons when they realized that the shit they were trying to pull on for the plot and touchstones did not line up with Brazil, but in fact lined up with Mexico.
Well, at least they retconned it.
The writers
give them a few points.
The writers looked at the globe in the office and went, "Wait a minute."
They caught it before it got to that chapter, which at least I can say is more than you can say for a lot of live service games, which that just does not happen.
Right.
But you know, it is the nature of these that you do have to just do like just running retcons, and there's a lot of other Fate Grand Order also has a lot of those that aren't just like that. That is a thing that has to retcon itself. So it's not like out of stretch for that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to give it to Tyrol at least, even though I think Nahui Mictlan has mostly been pretty good.
It's mostly the problem that Tezcat Polita. Am I saying that right? I apologize.
I know I know the spelling is Tezcatlipoca, but I'm not like.
Okay, it is Tezcatlipoca.
I'm not great with Nahual pronunciation, so I have no idea how you're actually supposed to say it.
The one problem is that Tezcat and Cuckoo and the other girl who I haven't met yet, they're all just as white as the driven snow.
Yeah.
Like pale and just, I mean, like even fucking Kets, right? Kets, when she's in Babylonia, like, yeah, she's blonde haired and green eyed, but she does have like a slightly darker skin tone.
Yeah.
Like, because like one of the things, and I mean it's corny. It's one of those like it's like dumb justification for why it is the way it is. But it's a fate. It's a running fate thing that gods have gold hair, right? Gods have gold hair because they're gods, so like their hair is literally made out of gold, right? That's why Gilgamesh is blonde. It's why Ereshkigal is blonde. It's why Kets is blonde, right? It's stupid. It's a justification, right? But whatever. But like, at least Kets is blonde with like a slightly darker skin tone. Have you seen Tezcat? It's absurd. The man literally looks like he's made of snow and they just put a blonde wig on top of him. It's really goofy. I love Fate Grand Order a lot, but like, come on, guys.
It continues to be bad, and I do have to. We do have to always, as always mentioned, like we have so much of like Fate Grand Order's weirdness with skin tone patched out in North America.
Yes,
yeah.
They fixed Emia Alter, thank God.
I'm looking at Tezcat's design right now, and they even do the thing where he's like the medium is like watercolor, so he's even paler in his artwork.
He's even more washed out.
I'm sorry. I do get it, Shia, that like you've been playing the game for a very long time and do need some like new gameplay paradigms in there. I couldn't pull for him ever. Like he's just a nasty little white boy. I don't want him.
He's so scrungly. I do not want him. No,
I saw that.
Be gone.
I saw that banner and I'm like, I have 6 tickets. I can pull at that for Tlaloc, and I got Tlaloc, which makes me very happy because you never get rated up 4 stars. It simply doesn't happen. I got one in 3 tickets.
Good for you.
So anyway, goodbye, white boy. You have been banished to silver medal.
I do want to also say that Taral also fixed some in-game racism.
Mm-hmm. With the
Amalja.
Yeah.
where they're just like, yeah, no, they know how to talk.
Yeah, no, you meet a Mamook on the fucking boat to Taral.
Yeah.
Who's like, me, no, god damn it, I don't want to keep this up anymore. I can talk totally normal.
It is, I think, both the funniest and most brazen instance of them going, yeah, we were the writing we did for these guys was really racist, so we just have to put something in here that shows that we know and are trying to salvage it.
Yeah.
We did the best we could. Like,
look, it's a holdover from Final Fantasy XI, but we're walking it back now that we're actually going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're just like, yeah, no, we were pretending the whole time.
I was worried too, because they showed.
Frankly, that is the correct way to do it, because it would be just it. It's extremely just like, yeah, this is how we get away with getting better negotiations if we act really, really stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doing that is the in-universe equivalent of the disclaimer for old Looney Tunes. Like, if we pretended these prejudices did... If we edited this, it would be like pretending that old racist Mamook writing didn't exist.
Yeah.
Totally.
It would be like
a Mamook looking you dead in the eyes, like, hey, so what was that Beast Tribe shit y'all used to talk about? That's kind of whack.
I was like, yes, okay.
They're like, wait, that translates to, I'm sorry, Beast Tribe?
Yeah,
buddy. Yo.
We called you. We're starting to call you like Alliance tribes now. That's not much better.
Look, man. I know you're better than that, man. You can't be saying Beast Tribes in Yogg-Thorol, man. You gotta get out of here with all that.
If you call the Palu Palu a Beast Tribe, those little guys will actually tear you limb from limb. So tread lightly, okay? It's like, okay.
It'd be like if in Mass Effect at one point you go to the Vorcha planet and you meet a Vorcha, he's like, excuse me, Commander Shepard, it's nice to see you.
I don't believe that would ever happen, though. It would be... I know this is terrible, but it is a race of 80s cartoon villains.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
You can't undo that.
The thing that we have to understand about BioWare now that BioWare is a company that is almost certainly fully in the past tense is like those RPGs are basically founded on being what I would describe as a normal neoliberal amount of completely racist.
Like a completely just like
this is
Star Trek level normal racism.
They wanted to do more Star Wars, and they lost the rights, so they thought they could get away with pretending that they read enough Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Simpsons joke I remember constantly all the time, which is like I think it's like Bart's crawling through like a fucking old library looking through like history books or something, and he finds one. Oh, look, a history book. And it's like a 1950s history book, and it has a stamp on the front that says "Too Racist," and he's like, "Nah, that won't do." And he finds the second one, and it says 1990s history book, and there's a stamp on it that says "Not racist enough." And I think the BioWare RPGs fundamentally work on some understanding that calling a book not racist enough is in fact an objective value of its quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, we have 2 more before our personal awards, and I think everybody's gone. Who wants to do this next one?
I'll take it.
Go for it.
So, we all watched it. The Game Awards was surprisingly good. In fact, I would argue it was the best Game Awards that I've ever fucking seen.
It was definitely up there.
Now, granted, that bar was low.
Right.
The bar's in hell.
But this is... But it cleared it with such a wide margin that to say that it was the best Game Awards that I've ever seen...
The bar
doesn't do it enough justice. It was a great Game Awards.
Yeah, it was a low bar, but they cleared it like it was a high bar.
They did great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They came in here with like a low limbo bar, and they just like high jumped that shit.
It's fantastic.
What are our nominees, Oatsy?
So, the best things that happened at the Game Awards 2024 was the unveiling of a new Turok, more Elden Ring DLC, a new Onimusha game, the Yakuza Studios is making Virtua Fighter and a new game called Project Century. There is also a new Okami. Astrobot swept the all of its categories for the most part. I think it only lost like 2 of them out of the 5 it was in. Clive in Tekken 8. And then last but not least, Statler and Waldorf got to be actually mean to Jeff Keighley. Like, scathing.
It was really funny, because normally we would do a category that's like the worst thing at TGA, but like, no. There was actually a lot of good stuff at the Game Awards 2024, so for once in our life, we get to have, like, a positive category, which is weird.
The number of terrible things at the TGA were relatively low and already lambasted upon in earlier Gorgies where we talked about the TGAs, like the AI cat video game, or that fucking ghoul from Tencent who's pretending to be helpful. So, like, you know, there's not a whole lot to talk about there. However, there's a lot of good things to talk about. I'm going to make an early vote for cutting new Turok.
Same.
Because it's not a boomer shooter, it's a third-person shooter multiplayer thing, and that's just like not what I'm here for.
Yeah, no, I agree to that.
No, it's cool.
There's more Turok, I guess.
Sure, but like Turok is a game that was like born for the boomer shooter category,
right?
And like you should be fucking whipping around. You should be like a race car the way you are in Doom 2016, right? Like zipping around arenas, killing dinosaurs, using big cool guns, and instead it's a third-person multiplayer thing, which basically means it's dead on arrival. Sorry.
Right.
So no.
I think I'm gonna also make a suggestion for cutting the Astrobot sweep. While it was great, it didn't really have a lot of competition.
Yeah, and I wanted Balatro to win.
And much like as Sarah has explained before, and I fully agree with, because this is a thing in these kinds of awards. It was a video game about making video games.
Yep.
The meta entry within the category tends to win that year. So.
Mm-hmm. And also, I will say at least it did have the great effect of causing the CEO of the Sun Wukong studio to have like a little bratty baby meltdown, which I consider a plus, because I don't like that dude and I don't like that studio. It's cool that we're finally getting like big Chinese developed games, but also, God, I wish it was any other studio. Really,
anything else would have been better. Yes, please. Fuck.
Yeah. All that to say, though, I do not particularly care for that little plastic L'Enfant Terrible, so he can go into the gray gutter.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, the fact is, I'm happy that Astrobot was like a real single player video game that swept and did very well. But it's also a game about all the games that Sony isn't making right now.
Correct.
So it shouldn't get anything from us. Sorry. What's left is really hard to cut.
It is.
I know one that I want to stay, but I'm not going to say it.
I think we are safe to cut Clive in Tekken 8 because he's not going to push the needle into any of us getting Tekken.
Correct.
No, he is a very funny choice. If it were Tifa in Tekken 8, she would be on the podium.
Yeah,
and possibly also in the Italian Senate. But that's neither.
But like we said in the episode, Tifa would have been the better choice, but Clive is the correct choice.
It's the funniest choice, absolutely.
It's so funny. Someday Tifa will get what she deserves.
And he's also great because no one in the Tekken community likes sword characters.
Correct.
You know, I am also willing to consider the possibility, considering this, because Tekken's not a Square Enix published, right? It's a different company.
It's Namco.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: Tifa not being in Tekken 8 means that Tifa can be in Season 3 of Street Fighter 6.
Yes,
she can.
True.
And they're putting Mai Shiranui in it, and she has the original outfit, and not like the kind of whatever new one they're doing that doesn't really sparkle a lot of joy of any kind. So clearly they are receptive to doing what the fans want, whether it's good or correct for them to do so.
Correct.
That's correct.
Which means that she could be there.
I think so. This one's kind of a hard decision, but I think of the 5 left, Onimusha has only gotten a trailer and no new info beyond that, and I am worried that it will eventually age poorly as we got a Mass Effect 4 trailer at the TGA's 2019.
I don't know. I disagree with that one. Capcom doesn't drag their feet like BioWare does.
This is true. However, we already have... So with the new Okami, we have multiple new things to talk about with it, whereas Onimusha is just... They are announcing that they're working on an Onimusha.
I will say probably just to cut...
Because I also think Elden Ring DLC is the thing that we can cut, because if Elden Ring was going to get anything more, it would be DLC announced at TGA. So it wasn't surprising, exciting news. Even if it was extremely good news.
I don't necessarily. Wait, I didn't mean. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't strictly agree, if only because Elden Ring DLC we got a ton of information about after the TGAs.
Yeah.
And frankly, they had said that they weren't doing anything new for Elden Ring, so it's a significant, huge surprise that they are doing anything with the new Elden Ring, even if what it is them doing a Prey Moon Crash, basically, of we don't want to spend a lot of money making assets or putting out this thing with assets that we already have.
We're making a best of.
Now,
and
go ahead.
I want to say I'm not ready to cut Onimusha just yet, because this is going to be Onimusha on the RE engine. This might be the RE2 remake to Onimusha 3.
My bid for cutting Onimusha is much more simple. There was another Capcom thing announced at the TGAs that I'm way, way more enthusiastic about.
There's also that.
That's basically my only, like, pitch for cutting Onimusha, is just that, like, they also announced a new Okami, and Jeff Keighley himself cried on stage. So, like, yeah, new Onimusha is cool. It's not a new Okami.
And again, I gotta stress this. It isn't just it's new Okami. It is everything else that we can talk about that came out with them talking about Okami.
It's also the fact that they brought the whole
Clover's studio, you know.
Yeah, like they brought Mikami. Like the big thing is that they brought not Mikami.
Kamiya.
Yeah,
Kamiya. Thank you. Sorry, I get those two mixed up a lot because Kamiya, Mikami, you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But they brought back Kamiya and that whole basically team to make a new Okami game. Like, I am excited for a new Onimusha. I'm way more excited for other things on this list. More.
Okay, I'll let new Onimusha slide.
Okay.
I will also go with that, if only because, again, like, I'm interested in new Onimusha, and I would say I'm excited for it.
Yes.
However, if you ask me what Capcom published Japanese fantasy game just announced at TGAs are you most excited for, I'm not thinking about Onimusha.
Yeah.
I will say I also...
Unfortunately, Capcom overshadowed itself, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think I also kind of agree that we should maybe cut the Elden Ring DLC.
I like that none of us are willing to cut the Muppets.
Well, they're the Muppets.
So I will make I need to make an early bid for this, say this out of the way, because whether or not wherever it places, it doesn't matter. But if Statler and Waldorf showed up and they weren't mean, the TGA wouldn't have been as good as it is. Mm-hmm. They were genuinely the cherry on top for the entire show.
Absolutely.
That riff about Kojima.
Yeah.
was so good.
It was so good.
Scathing.
I am only willing at this point to finally, at 4th place, cut the Elden Ring DLC. Not because realistically, like, don't get me wrong, I think Statler and Waldorf are good. I will take exciting game development news over a thing that was funny for 2 minutes. Is just my personal thing. However, the Elden Ring deal. It's cool we're getting the Elden Ring DLC. I don't think it's gonna be like a epoch redefining this, that, or the other. The way every major FromSoft release. It's Prey Moon Crash, which means it's gonna be like a weird side thing, and that's cool. But I also wouldn't. It's not going to do any better in contention with the other two real categories. And the Statler and Waldorf baby was funny.
And the thing is, this is the best thing to happen at the Game Awards. This isn't the best announcement.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the thing. It's only. I feel bad about cutting it, but it's only because the three that we have left here fired so much more neurons.
Exactly. Well, yeah. When we saw it, we were like, "Oh, is it a new Elden Ring DLC?" Like, when think about how you felt when you watched the trailers. Like, oh, you were very excited. It's an Elden Ring DLC. Think about when you first heard the strings for the Okami trailer.
Yeah.
I know, because they were like they were doing the music, and I'm like, that sounds like Okami music, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah. I already know what's gold with our 3 remaining contenders.
I'm just gonna mark it because I think we're pretty unanimous in agreement on that.
Unanimous.
Now hold on.
Silver.
Okay.
I want to argue a little bit for RGG making Virtua Fighter and Project Century.
You can argue for it, but I'm going to let you know right now it's not going to move my vote.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to move the vote,
but I gotta do it.
We do need to let Ben do it, so I can do it too.
Much like the honor of the Yakuza, this is something I have to do.
It's something you must do. I understand, Ben. Defend your honor.
Much like Kiryu, I have to scale Millennial Tower alone.
Agreed. Okay. I actually am extremely excited for Project Century and Virtua.
Yeah.
Probably not Virtua Fighter. I probably won't buy that because I'm not good at fighting games. Project Century, holy fuck.
RGG making Virtua Fighter is one of those things where even if you aren't a fan of fighting games, you see that and the amount of sense it makes, you can't help but get excited for that. Right? Like this is the most logical team to make a new Virtua Fighter. the ones that have been preserving Virtua Fighter in the Yakuza games for time immemorial.
I just got so excited when they did the over-the-shoulder swivel, but as they were doing that, I noticed immediately that they were reusing animation assets from Yakuza 3, and I was like,
Yes.
the spirit is alive and well in Ryuga Kotoku Studios.
And Project Century being a game that none of us were sure that it was actually an RGG studio game until the logo showed up. We're just like, oh cool, a studio is making a Yakuza-like. Surely it can't be RGG. They just announced they're making Virtua Fighter.
Now here's the thing. I didn't believe that because this is the same studio that put out Like a Dragon 9 this year, and within a calendar year is putting out another Like a Dragon game.
Yeah, that's because they're using the exact same assets.
Oh, I have great news for you, Ben. Project Century is absolutely just going to be a Like a Dragon game again.
Oh yeah,
it's not like they have to make new assets or whatever, but it's going to be the same game. I was like, oh, it's the one. I guess they're making another one.
The thing about Project Century is that when we do Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, we've already seen that Majima goes to a shanty town in the middle of a cave on an island, right? Mm-hmm. That shanty town is going to be filled to the brim with assets from Project Century.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely going to have bits and pieces from Yokohama for no fucking reason.
And the thing is, I think the reason why this happens is because they saw Capcom do that with RE8 for their RE4 remake and went, hey, wait, that's a good fucking idea, actually.
I mean, they've been reusing assets forever. They've been using re-assets since Yakuza 2.
But the thing is, Ben, it's not just reusing assets. It's wait, we can make assets for the future project we're not actually ready to develop yet, so we already have them ready to reuse. It's
preemptive reusing thing.
It's like when you make all your work lunches for the week on Sunday.
Yeah,
right?
It's meal prep.
Yeah. Honestly, I am excited for Project Century just because it did the impossible. It made me excited for an RGG game, a thing that I have never felt in my entire life.
Never ever.
Never. I have never seen a Yakuza game be like, ooh, I'm so excited. I don't know. But Project Century, I'm bouncing off the walls. I want it so badly. There's not enough Taisho era games, even though Taisho is the best era, just because it's so fucking cool. So yeah, I am extremely enthusiastic about Project
Everybody
Century.
loves this. Everybody loves the Sino-Russian War. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. The
they made a whole
aesthetics is unmatched.
They made a whole Golden Kamui about how much people love the Taisho era.
Yes. So yeah, I'm excited for Project Century, but I mean, I still know what my winner is.
Could you imagine if RGG did a Golden Kamui video game?
Fuck, they're so made for it, is the thing, right?
They really should.
That's like a match made in heaven, please.
Okay, I hate to say this, but I'm willing to give. I would prefer RGG getting silver over Statler and Waldorf.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is only because I am exceedingly not willing to fight for things that mean more to me that Statler and Waldorf is even here. Like, don't get me wrong, they're funny Muppets or whatever, but I'm just like, they're only here because I think they're funny enough to make up for the fact that
I just can't bring myself to cut any Muppet. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. It's the best thing at TGA. It's just like I would be offended if we were considering giving them anything except bronze.
Correct.
Okay.
I see.
However, we can give RGG silver and we can give New Okami gold because I think
is New Okami.
It was the 1-2 punch of seeing the Japanese landscape and being like, what is it? Is it Ghost of Yote? Like, what is going? And seeing a white dog run through the woods and be like, well, because there's no thought process in your brain that you're like, oh, white wolf in Japan, Okami. Right. Why would it be Okami?
No, see, here's the thing though. My experience is different. Is because I noticed Jeff Keighley tearing up as he made the announcement, like, what the fuck would get Jeff Keighley so broken up? He doesn't even do that for Kojima games. And I hear the music and I go, that's kind of like Okami.
Yeah.
And then I see the painterly landscape, and then I know. Like the white wolf showing up even before the shit takes form was just a cherry on the top for me. Like, oh my god, it's actually a new Okami. That's crazy.
And then it's Okami, and you're like, oh my god, they're remaking Okami.
No.
And then it says sequel. And you go, oh my god, they're making a sequel to Okami. And then it says, a game directed by Hideki Kamiya. And you go, oh my god, Hideki Kamiya went back.
He went back to Capcom. And then afterward, he's like, that the Okami sequel from Clovers.
Yeah.
The sequel to Clover, which makes me so happy.
It's amazing.
I think I mentioned it in the stream, but it is still my favorite thing from that is seeing this announcement and knowing that, like, not within the last year, Kamiya did an interview where he was talking about how frustrated he was developing Okami because, like, yeah, I was working with a bunch of useless fuckheads at Clover at the time.
I will say that, like, I think we talked a little bit about this. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, okay, if they're forming a studio called Clovers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting Beautiful Joe 3.
We are absolutely.
This is not.
Yeah.
We got Kamiya back at Capcom to make Okami 2. Mm-hmm. This is. We're bringing them back.
Yeah.
Because also nominally, I think the deal is Clovers isn't a Capcom studio. They're just publishing Okami. Clovers is nominally an independent studio. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they could just go like, hey, we want to make Beautiful Joe 3, and Capcom's like, oh yeah.
Okie dokie.
Yay! Thanks for the free money. Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're giving us 10%, right? Yeah, obviously. All right, cool. Do whatever.
Have fun. Yeah.
Thog don't care.
And then they take that 10% and make God Hand 2.
No, they don't,
No,
Ben.
they're not.
Here's the thing. We are all lovers of the extremely bad PS2 game God Hand here. Objectively, using any amount of money to make a God Hand sequel is losing that amount of money, period.
Yeah, no, that's just money you're lighting on fire for fun, right?
That's what here's the thing. The only way God Hand 2 gets made is if Shinji Mikami's, like, requirement for coming back to Capcom for some reason is you'll let me make God Hand 2.
You have to let me make God Hand 2. Yeah.
Shinji Mikami stumbling drunk into Capcom Studios going, God Hand 2! And he slaps the table and they're like, yep, get him to a desk.
This game's gonna run at 25 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch too. You mean the Nintendo Switch, right? Because no!
We're putting it on.
It's gonna look like a Switch game, and it's gonna play like a Switch game, but it's gonna be on Steam.
I can tell the both of you watched The Wheel of the Worst like right before we started.
No, I watched it yesterday.
Oh we were literally watching it before we started recording.
We're gonna put it on the PS5. It's gonna be in 4x3.
I think it's insanely funny. I think it's insanely funny, by the way. That guy started doing an impression of Mike that was good, so good it made Mike uncomfortable.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm taking this one because my category is the last category, so I want to get one
please.
More. There's actually a lot of good video games coming out in the next year, so I'm excited. So, yeah, Brightest Hope for the Future.
It's 2017 all over again.
I know, it's actually kind of fucked up. Is Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, Grand Theft Auto 6, Ghost of Yote, the Nintendo Switch 2, maybe? Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, Project Century, Okami 2, and Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah, there's actually a ton of shit
There's a lot coming out.
Although I don't think Okami 2 is coming out this year, which is like my argument for cutting it.
I didn't put Brightest Hope of the future Brightest Hope of 2025. I put Brightest Hope for the future because these might miss the 2025 window, but they'll get close.
I think most of these won't. Grand Theft Auto 6 is supposed to be this year, right?
If Grand Theft Auto 6 doesn't,
if
Grand Theft Auto 6 somehow doesn't come out this year, I think the Hauser brothers are going to be jumping out of windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is already the most expensive game ever developed, almost certainly. I don't think it needs an extra year.
Oh.
Fall 2025.
Yeah, so we don't have an official... Yeah, we don't have an official date, but it is Q3, so it should be late summer, early fall.
Yeah. So, like, that's the only reason I think we can comfortably cut Okami 2, because every single one of these other games I can see coming out this year. Most of them are confirmed to come out this year.
Yeah.
I think the only one that isn't is Project Century. I think.
Project Century is, I think, also we know nothing about it.
Yeah, but it is also a Like a Dragon game, and those don't take long.
No, which is great.
Yeah,
I don't suspect it will be out this year because I think they would have said so. But I think it will be out next year.
It'll definitely be relatively early 2026.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get the official date for that game this year, certainly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with cutting Project Century and Okami 2.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have to
I'm
cut
sad to cut
more.
Okami 2, but I'm willing to.
It just got an award.
I'm willing to agree to the premise of trying to focus on stuff that's the immediate future and not the unknown future. I want to cut Monster Hunter Wilds because I'm going to be honest, I don't think that game's... I'm not particularly bright or hopeful about that video game.
Really? How come?
I think it's just going to be Monster Hunter Rise, but with like slightly different maps.
Well, no, not even Monster Hunter Rise. Because Monster Hunter Rise is like a more traditional one where it's actually broken up, like the areas where you have loading zones. It's Monster Hunter World again, but like it has some more open world stuff and like the ability to like ride on a little creature or whatever, which is like cool. But the game also like runs like shit on even top end graphics cards, and it's like it doesn't change the game from Monster Hunter World even enough to really feel like it's a particularly exciting new entry to me.
Okay.
Like it's a new Monster Hunter game with like some improvements, sure, but it's not like... It is not on the level of, I think, basically anything else that's in contention currently.
Okay, that's fine by me.
So I'm going to insist upon it being banished.
I'm totally fine with that getting cut. It kind of makes our job a little bit easier.
A little bit easier, yes. Because these 5 are hard.
It's actually not that this one isn't hard for me. I will not buy or care about Grand Theft Auto 6 even a little bit. Grand Theft Auto 6 is a cool thing. I don't like Grand Theft Auto. I haven't played a Grand Theft Auto since Miami. I was gonna say Miami Vice.
I don't mean to be mean to Grand Theft Auto, but like my love for that particular genre died out when like Saints Row 4 came out, and I got burnt out, and I thought that the genre was just kind of not overdone, but just like wasn't doing enough to keep itself fresh.
The thing is, like, I'm like,
I want to be excited, but I also know I'll burn out on it, like, within a couple of hours of playing.
I'm not likely to get GTA 6, and honestly, like, if we... Like, I don't think it's going to be a podium placer either way, even if it was just me voting. I'm significantly warmer on it, and, like, kind of am looking forward to seeing, like, if fucking it does any, like... Honestly, I'm excited to see if it does, like, a new Grand Theft Auto Online and what people do with that, right?
Sure.
Because it's always people do really... The thing about Grand Theft Auto, both 5 and presumably 6, is that they have a lot of really fun sandbox simulation stuff in them that people do really fun and funny things.
People are writing RP narratives in Grand Theft Auto 5 that even God doesn't know about.
That's correct.
Except God does know about it because people are Twitch streaming them, and their entire like 40 people RP groups are just Twitch streaming RPing like a fucking like Always Sunny in Philadelphia in GTA 5. It's crazy. And like I am excited about that, and I'm certain I will play that game because like I played GTA 5 all the way through. I'm like, I don't know, it's a pretty good video game.
It's pretty good.
I mean, you have to at least look at the first $1 billion game.
I have to know. I do have to know. Yeah. And now if it runs like shit on a 3080 for no good goddamn reason, I'm not going to buy it. Because I don't own a PS5, and I'm not ever going to own a PS5 again, I don't think. But like, I don't know, I'm excited for it. I'm only just, like, the only reason I'm willing to let it go is because I think what will be the podium placers are probably all more actually bright lights of hope for the future. Whereas, like, I think GTA 6 is just gonna that game's gonna come out and fun things will happen in it. But I don't really like its reflection on the industry that much.
You don't think it'll save the industry?
No, in fact, I think it is in fact the figure. It is like the icon of sin for everything that is currently wrong with the industry.
Absolutely.
You might be right in that regard.
Everything that like is wrong with the video game industry is kind of embodied in GTA 6 right now. Like, it's $1 billion video game. Everybody is probably already crunching themselves to death, even though it's fucking January, right? I cannot imagine it's going to do anything that, like, unique and cool with storytelling or gameplay or anything like that. And it's going to be $70. And as we know, I am never buying another $70 video game again.
I'm going to suggest a painful cut, which I know Ben is not going to like, but I feel need to argue for. Insofar as we have argued so far for the brightest light of hope for the future shouldn't be too far out, because we want to keep ourselves grounded. I'm also going to argue that we cut Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii because it's going to be out in 1 month.
I feel, you know what?
That's a pretty close.
Yeah, that's kind of been my argument there.
This is painful, but if we cut Project Century, we're not going to keep Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
No.
No.
Yeah, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for that game to come out. I think it's going to be super fun. I'm interested to see shit about it. It's just like, it's so close, I'm not willing to call it the future.
No, basically like next week, essentially.
It's next Sunday AD.
Yeah.
We are like, whenever this episode goes up, we are only like at most 3 gorges away from getting to the gorge in which you talk about playing it.
Yeah, yes. Exactly.
I'm going to be the one who buys it day one. I promise.
I'm buying it day one for sure. Are you kidding me? It's
Majima. Ben can have a little spoiler cast.
It's Majima being a fucking PS2 protagonist.
In fact, being quite honest, the fact that it also happens in my birthday month means that, like, it's made for me.
It's made for you. You get to see Majima cope with the fact that Kiryu is dead.
That's correct.
Much like the last Yakuza game, I'm not going to buy it at launch only because I will get my fix watching one of you play it for a certain length of time.
Yay! Watch me start to stream it every Sunday.
Yeah, wait a minute. It comes out in February, right?
February 20th, so it's like
we still have
last
to finish
week
FF9,
before.
y'all.
We do. We can't do Yakuza February.
No. That's a terrible name as well. Die.
It's also less, like, only a week left before, like, February ends. You can't call it that.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry.
I don't think we're going... If we have thus far not finished FF9, I don't think there's any world in which we are going to ever complete Pirate Yakuza on screen. So I would rather you just be able to enjoy it on your own.
Correct.
I might do a quick look like we did for Infinite Wealth, but we'll see.
Sure.
That would be fun.
So we have 3 nominees now, and they're all things that I'm pretty excited about.
Hey, so I never saw trailers for Clair Obscur. What the hell is this about?
Clair Obscur is like it's the most French video game ever made, but it's also a Souls-like, but it's also a turn-based JRPG.
It is a game that was announced at Summer Game Fest. Okay. And we the 3 of us watched it and we were like, "Oh, it's a AAA like open world thing where you walk around and you do like God of War style things." And then it went to a battle screen and it was turn-based with reaction commands.
But it's like clearly doing like kind of Bloodborne-y. It's like it's aesthetically one of the most interesting games I've ever seen because it's doing like Bloodborne aesthetics. It's doing reaction commands, but there's also like a boss health meter that looks like a Souls-like health meter. It's extremely French because it has like a very kind of weird, sort of dreamy premise, which is basically like killing God. In the short version. The
idea is that it's called Expedition 33 because everyone who turns 33 this year will die. And they have to stop the evil witch that's doing that.
Right.
So it's just Super Logan's Run.
Yeah.
Well, because it's a little more expanded than that. The witch has this totem that has a number on it. and if you turn that age, you die, but also the number keeps going down.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this year, the number hits 33, and everyone who turns 33 is going to die, and presumably in the future it would be 32, and then if you're 32 or more, you die, etc., etc.
Right.
So there's like a very bizarre, like, overarching thing there. But it's also like the French are making an Unreal 5 Persona game with Paper Mario combat in it.
Yeah.
Like
I'm looking at this now and I'm like, I'm not convinced that I'm still like having a fever dream for November.
No.
They've
That's
also
fantastic.
They've also announced that they are including alternate costumes, one of which is putting the characters in striped shirts and little berets and mustaches.
I didn't see that.
Man, that might be enough to get I was planning on just giving this a polite bronze. That might be putting it in contention for a higher placement.
Yeah.
I think that qualify that by itself is definitionally bright light of hope for the future.
And there's also like little things, like if you go to their website, because it's a small team based out of France, obviously. If you go to their website, they blatantly list just like the JRPGs they like and what inspired them, and it's all good shit. It's Persona 4, it's Mother, it's Final Fantasy VII. It's just like a laundry list of all of their favorite JRPGs, and they're like, yes, we wanted to make one like it. And I'm like, oh, you French, it looks really good.
I feel like based on their animation history within the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the French would be the closest to understanding the heart and complexity of a JRPG.
Correct.
I mean, just on vibes and understanding of anime alone.
Yeah.
Like, Off is a French JRPG.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just really enthusiastic about Clair Obscur. I think it looks really good, and it's just different. It's something that actually made my neurons fire during the because like the Game Awards were very good. The Summer of Gaming was very bad.
Yeah.
And one of the few things in the Summer of Gaming that like really made my neurons fire was Clair Obscur. It was something that I like after the Summer of Gaming was over, I went and I tracked down more information because I wanted to learn more. It has a cool premise. It has a cool aesthetic. I don't know. I just think it looks really neat. And so, yeah, I'm like really excited for it. Am I as excited for it as the Switch 2? No, but it's the Switch 2.
Right.
Can I request, and I'm thinking about how we're going to place these. Can I actually request a retcon of one of the ones we disqualified?
Sure.
Go on.
I'm thinking about it. Realistically, even though it's in the near future, I know I am going to have a lot of fun watching my friends play and then listening to them talk about Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Okay.
And conversely, I don't plan on owning a PS5, so I really don't give a shit about the Ghosts of Yotei.
Yeah, because I would rather play it, and I don't want to watch it.
I do kind of have the same problem. Like, Ghost of Yotei has the exact same problem as Grand Theft Auto 6 in my mind, which is big bloated budget, crunched employees, $70. It's very pretty, and I love the aesthetics of Ghost of Tsushima. I really enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima. I think Ghost of Yotei looks really good, but I'm just not that enthusiastic.
You know what? I forgot that none of you own PS5s, so I'm okay with switching Ghost of Yotei for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
This is unprecedented, but we are going to banish a podium placer to the gray gutter in service of reviving one that we thought was dead. And now our podium is Clair Obscur.
Again.
Our new podium is Clair Obscur, Nintendo Switch 2, and Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
What a funny podium.
This is what discussion leads to. This is what we should have been doing all along.
It's really good. It works out perfectly because we get to actually hash it out. Because, I don't own a PS5 unless I find a really good deal for one. I probably never will again. And like, yeah, as excited as I am for Ghost of Yotei, the PC version is at least 3 years away, right?
Mm-hmm.
If not more.
If not more.
Yeah.
It took a long time for Ghost of Tsushima to get a PC release. So, yeah, unfortunately, and it's $70. I don't buy $70 games on principle. So, Claire Obscure is going to be like $40 or $50, they said. So,
yeah.
I'm fucking stoked for that.
I think of these three, and I think based on our discussion of it too, I kind of want to give my gold to Claire Obscure.
I agree, but we do need to talk about the Nintendo Switch too, because
yes.
I'm really enthusiastic about it. Not so much because I'm going to buy it day one. I probably will, depending on what they talk about it when they finally do talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I'm actually more enthusiastic about the Switch 2 is the thing we've been talking about for basically the entirety of 2024, which is that the Switch 2 is going to hit this industry like a fucking nuclear strike.
Yeah,
right?
that's going to be the biggest thing is the wave of impact it's going to have on the rest of the industry. When it's all I think of is the old Best Friends bit where Liam was talking about the Game Boy Advance and he's like, it was a fucking Super Nintendo in your hand, fuck you.
Yeah, that's literally it though.
Yeah,
it's just that like the rumored price is $400, which is a little high.
It's a little high,
but not as bad as it could be, because like $300 is a sweet spot, but I don't think it was ever going to be $300.
Yeah, it's a PS4 you hold in your hand. Fuck you, it costs $400.
Yeah,
I was always going to be like, well, the dream is for it to be $349.99, but it's not gonna be that.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be $400.
Yeah, $349.99 is like, I think, the perfect price point. I don't think they'll do that. They might do that for Christmas after.
Oh yeah.
If it comes out in March, if it comes out in March, they'll do a $50 Christmas price drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just like,
remember, they slashed the 3DS's price like a few months after it came out.
And
well, the thing is, the 3DS also bombed on launch.
It bombed super hard. And the thing is that the Switch, the funny thing about the Switch 2 is if the Switch 2 wasn't backwards compatible, but was still a PS4 in your pocket, I would think they're insane for charging $400 for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But by all accounts, it's a PS4 in your pocket that is backwards compatible, right? So
which is dangerous.
That means you can just play all of those fucking Switch games on your Switch 2.
Yeah,
right?
it's going to bring new life to so many Switch games.
Yeah. And so like, and the fact that it's affordable, it's portable, it has like that brand recognition. If they're smart, they'll just call it the Switch 2 and everybody will lose their mind and it'll sell 200 million fucking units in 3 weeks.
Or the Nintendo Super Switch.
Right.
They
bring back the old
They
joke.
should call it the Super Switch.
I think they actually, just to make sure they make their money back, they will, I mean, if they're smart, they'll just call it the Switch 2. Because the 2, it'll be Roman numeral 2, and the 2 will be the 2 little joysticks, or the little Joy-Cons, right?
Oh, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. See, I just like the idea of Super Switch because I want them to put the primary color face buttons back.
I agree. But even Super Switch might confuse people, and if it's kind of like the Wii U confused people, right? And if they're smart, they will just call it the Switch 2, Roman numeral 2. And then everybody knows that it's an upgrade to the Switch that you have to buy. It's not like a side grade like the fucking DSi or whatever the fuck they called that thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a straight up new Switch. You have to buy it if you want to play the new games. That's it. It's just like the PS2, right? Easy. And so just for that alone, if they name it correctly and they do everything right, it could be really, really powerful.
The only reason I think that they won't, and I know Nintendo can change, but the only reason I think that they won't is of the console publishers, they are the one that is most allergic to giving their platforms directly iterative names.
I know.
They hate it. I feel like there's part of them that could go, the Switch, the sequel to the Switch is such an obvious slam dunk that it does not matter what we name it, whether they're right or not.
No, and that's the problem. that's the Wii U and the Wii problem again. The thing about the Nintendo is that you have to always remember they love fumbling the bag. They love it. It's their favorite thing. They fucked up the Wii U. The GameCube was also a flop. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it was.
Remember new 3DS?
The new 3DS.
The new 3DS was really bad, yeah.
The new 3DS.
It was the worst ever.
The fucking DSi that was also just like a huge flop because nobody knew what this fucking thing was. Yeah, no. They love fumbling back. That's the only problem. But if they're smart, it'll be $400, it'll be backwards compatible, it'll be a PS4, and they'll call it the Switch 2.
I think they've already confirmed that it is backwards compatible at the very least.
No, yeah, totally. And that's what
I think at the very least,
the last step is that it has to be called the Switch 2, right?
I don't remember if Nintendo said it or not, but I think at the very least it's been confirmed by people going, yeah, these aren't quote unquote official, but we have the actual like what the system is, and like we have like a 3D recreation of it using unofficial parts, and like the specs all do just have the exact same like cartridges or whatever. Yeah. I do still think that Nintendo will be Nintendo and they won't call it the Switch 2.
I know.
But I think here's the thing, Sarah, I think your name is objectively correct. I don't think they're going to do it, but I think the 2 with the Joy-Con 2s is like objectively the right choice. I simply don't think they're smart enough.
I don't think they're capable of not fumbling the bag.
I think they have definitely learned from the Wii U.
Yeah.
Which means that it won't be the Switch Plus or anything like that. It'll be something that indicates, no, this is a separate thing. Like Super Switch has enough dads and moms that are like, oh, it's the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo. It's the Switch and the Super Switch. It's a new console.
Now, fortunately, again, the rumor is that we're gonna have an answer to this in like 2 weeks, right? Like, they're supposed to talk about this really, really soon. Will they? Who knows? God, I hope so. Stop jerking us along. We all know it's coming, right?
But real quick before, 'cause I feel like we're okay. How do we feel about this order of operations? Gold, Clair, Obscure, Silver, Nintendo Switch 2, Bronze, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yachts.
I am actually genuinely very divided between an indie JRPG and the next Nintendo system.
Yeah, I'm torn between those two as well. Because I
kind of guess I would rather give it to Switch 2 because again, I'm excited for the atom bomb to hit Sony.
That's what it boils down to.
Here's the thing: nominating the Switch 2 for Gold feels like I'm calling a shot.
Yeah.
Versus like do I take the risk and lob my ball to the Switch 2, or do I go for the guaranteed of Clair Obscure?
I think Clair Obscure is going to be good. I genuinely think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be interesting. I don't think it's going to be a fucking atom bomb the way the Switch 2 has a potential of being, right?
Because I think my thing is that the Switch could bomb, but we are set on such a precipice where if it bombs, and it bombs bad enough, the bright light of hope for the future is it crashes the market.
That's true. That's actually a really good point.
Okay, so while I mark these, I think, so are we comfortable with then Switch Gold, Clair Obscure Silver, Pirate Yachts Bronze?
Absolutely.
I'm okay with that. Yeah. I think that's a good pick.
Before we go into champions, I want to ask, what could they name the Switch 2 that would guarantee it would bomb like the Wii?
Oh, I know this one easily.
Oh, tell us.
The Sweech. SWIITCH.
That's pretty bad.
I'm going to say the Switch On.
Ooh, that's really bad. I am going to go with something that you guys just pitched. I think Switch Plus, because it has the exact same vibes as the new 3DS.
Yeah.
Or a PS5 Pro, right?
I think it's highly believable, too, because then you get a thing of like, well, it's called the Switch Plus, and I'm just imagining some mom not GameStop, because it's not going to exist in 2 weeks. But at like Best Buy, you're like, so is this like like Disney Plus? Is there like streaming on it?
Yeah. Is it,
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
And then
thinking.
somehow the sequel to the Switch, the easiest slam dunk in the world, only sells like Xbox Series S numbers.
Oh.
Or they call it something like the Switch HD.
Oh god.
Oh.
I love that idea because the Switch is already technically an HD console.
I know, but
I love that idea.
It's so fucking stupid. Because I'm just
What
like,
what if they called it the Switch 4K, but it can't actually output the 4K?
What if?
Yes.
What if they? No. Okay. You know what they would
Switch
do?
OLED. No, they call it the Switch OLED 2. So everyone's like, is it just the second generation of the Switch OLED? What?
Oh my god.
They really fuck things up. They just call it the Nintendo.
No, I think that would loop back around to doing really well.
That would be insane, but also I feel like there's a version of reality where that could be a correct. Like if they were like, no, all of our consoles in the future are just going to be on this model. Yeah. Like we're going to improve hardware or whatever, but it's all going to be the Switch model of hardware as our standard forever. Now we're just calling it the Nintendo. I feel like that could work.
Yeah, I think that might work.
Yeah.
Like a reboot. Yeah.
Like, because if it's always perpetually backwards compatible from the Switch 1 forever, just calling it the Nintendo is dangerous.
Well, then I get that would solve the problem actually of the mom.
Exactly.
What does Billy want? He wants a Nintendo. He
wants the new Nintendo. You take that to somebody at Walmart, they know exactly what he's looking for.
They're like, you got it, ma'am. Does he want the new Mario also? He's like, no, he wants the new Animal Crossing. It's like, ma'am, the new Animal Crossing isn't that new.
Wait a minute.
It's from the old Nintendo.
Wait a minute. Is that why they called those games that?
What?
The new Super Mario Brothers. So that mom can go into GameStop and say Johnny wants the new Super Mario Brothers game.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Ben, that is 100% the intent. The problem is that when you literally name it the new Super Mario Brothers and it stops being the new Super Mario Brothers, you have created an unfixable marketing problem for yourself. Well, you can never, ever undo that. It's fucked up.
How was Nintendo supposed to know they would make more Mario games after that one?
How was Nintendo supposed to know that if you name a product something really stupid, it will single-handedly ruin that thing's market viability completely?
Oh, hey, Microsoft, what are you doing over here? Welcome to the conversation.
Oh, hey.
We're making a Series E to round out the trilogy.
What if Nintendo calls their thing just calls their console Nintendo in response to Microsoft's "This is an Xbox" thing?
Oh god!
What if here's the thing? What if the Switch 2 is just called the Xbox?
For some reason, Microsoft didn't renew the fucking trademark.
Oh,
no, they just sold it to Nintendo because they have to make back their $80 billion somehow.
Wait a minute! No! They call it the Switch box.
Oh, that's really bad. I hate it.
Oh, that would be really terrible. That would definitely be the worst. That would kill that console completely.
Okay, before we start personal categories, talk amongst yourself and or play intermission music. I gotta pee.
Okay.
I thought she was going to tell me to play.
It's been 2 hours.
Is it really?
Yes.
I thought she was going to tell me to play Lost Belt 7. I'm like, I'm already there, Sarah. You don't got to tell me.
I'm already in. Well, Saturn, you can announce your categories because Sarah can read.
I'm not going to commence until we're all here. She deserves to suffer as much as we do.
We can't skip this anyway because there's also, we need to take the opportunity to look at these.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about Microsoft's fucking Xbox. Like, this is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. Nintendo's like, Nintendo.
I feel like you should send Phil Spencer an email that says this is an Xbox and it's like a picture of his mom. I think that would really get his goat.
Saturn, I hate to tell you this. I hate Centipedes. I hate those motherfuckers.
I have really bad news for you about my category.
They grow them so big in the West Coast that you can see them on trees eating birds. I hate them.
I've seen some of the ones of like them just like showing up in convenience stores in Japan. Just like, fuck, no wonder there's so much artwork of people encountering these and they're like 200 feet tall. Because like you look at it and it's so big, you can go like, imagine if that was 200 feet tall, and you just shit yourself immediately no matter what you were doing. No
wonder Shigeru Miyamoto was like, Wiggler.
Oh, I hate these things so much.
The Switch
I do
Station.
think it is, however, very funny that in my category, I don't know if this will get cut out or whatever. I don't know how rigidly we're editing this.
Not.
Of my 5 nominees, really only 2 of them are actual centipedes. Most of the other ones are like things that are kind of centipede-esque, but not actually centipedes. But you know, I'm always striving to find weirder categories to do for my champion category every year. And last year was just like women who have big boobs and are mentally ill, which I still feel strange about having done, but it was the only through line I could find.
Unfortunately, Saturn, you made yourself very seen by making that one.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
you put a microscope, you put it like a giant magnifying glass on your ass.
Look, it's fine. Like I am but one Saturn. My champion category is a lens for things that I pay attention to.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Sarah. You're just in time for us to get into the personal champion categories.
Which Saturn.
And as a reminder for our listeners, this is going to work somewhat differently than past years. I'm going to read out what my nominees are, and my co-hosts are going to do the job of narrowing my category down to a top 3, which I will then pick from. Mm-hmm. And it will work the same for all of our respective categories.
Yes.
My category this year is Jesus fucking Christ, the Saturn Award for Excellence in Centipedes. Because I have played a lot of video games this year that have centipedes in them, and I wanted to shout out some of our very special things. As a warning for Shia, there is a Elden Ring centipede in here. I'm not going to talk about any plot spoilers. It's just going to be the name of the centipede, and I'll go like, look at this picture of the centipede. So it's like fucking all story. Anyway, our nominees for Jesus fucking Christ, the Saturn Award for Excellence in Centipedes are Romina, Saint of the Bud from Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree. Fenrir from March in Line, Polly from Mouthwashing, the Lanmolas from Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and Lamasu from Anthology of the Killer. I have included links to images of these various centipedes for you to evaluate.
All of these, and I am evaluating the centipedes. I already know that I think Lamasu is too cute. Or no, excuse me, the Lamolas. Sorry, Lamasu is different.
Okay,
Lanmolas.
So here's
cute.
Here's the thing, Sarah. Here's the thing is I'm going to say, which is I think they should be in here because I don't like any of the other centipedes. Because I don't like centipedes.
I think this award, not to misinterpret the will of the boss, aka our dear friend Saturn, I think this award is about the centipede that you see that makes you say out loud, Jesus fucking Christ! And I just don't think the Landmolas are scary enough.
Here's the thing, Sarah. Even the Landmolas do that to me.
But it's cute! It looks like
Sarah,
a stuffed one!
I see it, and then I see Zelda next to it, and I go, oh, a centipede that big, oh, Jesus
Christ.
Now,
Oats, I do have to ask one quick question, though. How do you feel about Wiggler? Like the Mario enemy.
The caterpillar?
Is it a caterpillar?
That is.
Yeah, it's not a centipede.
Because
it doesn't have like.
Ben, here's how you know it has little butterfly wings on one of its segments.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah. Huh.
And it's cute too. I think that Lamolus is Wiggler adjacent. It's too cute. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm also. All right. Look, I will say the other one I want to cut. I want to cut Fenrir.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
That one's horrible to look at.
Because sexy in big quotes centipede is
Ben,
fucked up.
Romina is right there.
Ramina is not sexy. Ramina might have to win it all.
I think no,
really vile.
But the thing is, the difference is Ramina's like half human thing is like tacked on at the end. Mm-hmm. Fenrir is we want to make a sexy centipede.
I don't think he's sexy at all. I think he's horrible to look at, and I hate it, especially with the dog heads. Ugh. This is Saturn. You have really truly constructed a real trap of a category here.
Well, I think he's sexy.
No,
but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, you don't get to talk in this one.
Saturn, I am burning your category to the ground.
Well, that's unfortunate because you do have to make 2 cuts so that I can. Here's the thing: the quicker you guys agree to what 2 you're cutting, the quicker I can rank them.
Okay, listen.
I think it's the Len Molis and the Lammasu are ironically the 2 L ones. Because I think the Lammasu is also just kind of cute.
I think the Lammasu is weird enough that it should stick around.
Well, we have to cut one, you guys.
I think we should cut Fenrir.
I don't agree.
I don't want Fenrir to win anything.
Including an award where your response is Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes.
I don't want Fenrir to be rewarded.
I'm actually going to make this easy. I'm putting my nepotism foot down. You're not allowed to cut Fenrir.
No, that's not how this works.
Let's cut Fenrir despite Saturn.
Now we're cutting Fenrir.
No, I'm not. I'm not letting you talk all this shit about Fenrir from the video game that my dear friends made. It's going on the podium now because you've been too mean. I would have let you argue it down, but you have decided to be mean about it, and now I'm not letting you vote.
That's not how the category works.
Tough shit.
Category, and
it's my category, and I have decided to change the rules because it shows a sham anyway. We've ignored the rules in every single category.
I hate it here.
No, you love it here.
Ben, I brought Pirate Yakuza back from the dead for you.
We didn't lock in our votes. We didn't lock in our votes for that one, though.
Breaking the rules. We agreed to cut it and we brought it back.
This is like when you added added Odo to a category last year.
Yeah, and Odo won because Odo whips ass, and 3 of us were watching it that year, so it counts. You're lucky I didn't find excuses to put Umineko in here. Sarah's still playing it. It would have been in bounds.
We gotta get rid of the Lanmolas because
the Lanmolas is an easy cut. They're cute. So Saturn, you can cut that one.
Can we get rid of Polly too? Because I don't think that quite counts as an actual centipede. It's more like a tree.
I agree. Okay, I'll take Polly. As much as I like Polly because it's terrifying looking, it's really more of a spider. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that encounter? That's a giant 100-foot worm that stomps around the thing and chases you.
In there. Yeah.
It is like morphologically centipede.
I know, but the others are more genuinely centipede. Well, in that case, if we're going off of that, then I think Lenmasu is less of a centipede.
That's fair. Hear me?
Yeah, that's true.
I just because Lenmasu doesn't really look like a centipede to me. It only has 4 legs for one. Okay, so not a centipede.
Yeah, that just makes it a normal thing.
Polly could have 100 legs. I don't like looking at it for very long. But Lenmasu looks like a little guy. So
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so there's your category. The others are definitionally centipedes. They are centipedes. Romina especially is just a centipede with a lady stuck on the end of it.
And a scorpion attached to the backside. I'm not sure anybody else
noticed.
I
noticed. I hate it. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's a bad category, Saturn. I mean, just in terms of just unpleasant to look at with my human eyes.
Yeah, we need to put you back in your kennel.
Okay.
Okay. Yay.
Oh, well, we can get this over with the 3 remaining, with Romina, Fenrir, and Polly.
Right.
I'm going to give Polly bronze, because Polly is so annoying in the ending of that game that it erodes the Jesus fucking Christ factor.
Yeah.
It's you see it enough times, and you're just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you've done your... I've had to watch your shit-ass wind-up animation like 5 fucking times. I just hate you now. Go to hell. I'm going to only give silver to Fenrir, who I do think... who did genuinely make me go, Jesus fucking Christ. Only, though, because I am going to be giving gold to Romina, Saint of the Bud, who is a centipede that made me go Jesus fucking Christ about once every 3 minutes for the duration of my relationship with Romina, Saint of the Bud.
Seeing an image of Romina gave me the exact same horrible discomfort that I get from seeing any giant spider in a video game. Like, I am the person who the arachnophobia toggle was made for.
Right.
I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to hear skittering noises. I don't want to see a web. I want to see a big red box that says spider on it.
Or you want to play Monster Hunter Wilds and just get like the kind of spidery things turned into weird fucking blobs that hump you for some reason.
Yeah. On the same note, though, I do want to say that Fenrir gives me the same disdainful disgust that the sexy clown lady from Spirit of Justice gave me for the exact same reason.
No, for me, it is the visceral, like, people can find that sexy that, like, Constable Frozen Tumblr gift sets.
I just don't like the addition. For one, don't like centipedes. 2, don't like centipede plus dog plus person. It's not good, folks. But Romina is definitionally more of a Jesus fucking Christ kind of centipede. So yeah,
I didn't know I was friends with such cowards. Anyway, that's my category done.
I don't like bugs. All right, Oats, get to work.
So, once again, Oatsy is a sad, thirsty little girl.
Say it ain't
Once
so.
again, I have an award of excellence in stunning hot old men that kept distracting her from playing more current video games. The nominees for this one are The Ghoul from Fallout TV show, Dr. Tenma from Pluto, Aramaki from when we were watching Ghost in the Shell semi-weekly.
We're getting back to it, I promise.
Please.
Is Lad Rousseau old? His series sure is.
Oh!
From Baccano. And then last but not least, the Grunkle Funkle twins from Gravity Falls, because Sarah made me rewatch it.
Okay, I have to say, out of this list here, the one I just want to get out of the way to cut is Lad Russo, because we didn't even watch Baccano last year.
Yeah, we did.
That was the year. Wasn't that the year before?
No, it was
We
last
watched
year.
it like a couple of months ago.
We didn't get to the OVAs because stuff happened.
Oh, you watched it on the Discord. That's right. I was thinking of when the 4 of us watched it.
No, the Discord.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. So that's fine then. Yeah.
But I think we covered still cut Lad Russo because he's not old. Sorry.
Yeah, he's like 35.
I just wanted the joke.
No,
Please don't be mad at me.
You wanted
it's
to
fine.
hear my agonized howl from the other room. I see how it is. See this?
I love you.
I'm ancient. I'm withering. I'm so old.
Surveys? Surveys saying that apparently he's probably like 25.
Yeah.
In that show.
He's very
He's very young.
He got hit with the hammer then.
he got
Well,
hit
here's
with
the thing.
living in
He's-
the 1930s hammer.
The thing is though, he's voiced by Brian Massey, which much like Richard Epcar is an age debuff.
That's true,
Instantly
yeah.
adds 10 years, totally.
You can't be voiced by Brian Massey and not be taken for at least 35.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we
I think we can cut him.
Pretty cleanly.
I don't think Aramaki is hot. I love Aramaki, but I don't think he's hot.
Wow.
What? I don't think he's hot. He looks he's bald. I don't like bald.
Here, I agree, but I can't. Well, here's the thing. You say you don't like bald, and yet the Ghoul.
That's different.
Okay, here's the thing though, is that
However, because the Ghoul is completely bald. He's cue bald. There's a difference.
Listen. The thing I'll say about Aramaki is that he may not be conventionally attractive, but he pulls the same way that Picard pulls.
That's true.
Here's the thing: for a guy who's got to be 115 years old, you just like he's got the smoothness where like he's still getting it with like women who are half his age.
Yeah,
like on the regular.
Exactly.
And also you got to consider the glow up that Aramaki received from the anime compared to his appearance in the manga.
Yeah, that's actually true. The Standalone Complex is very kind to Aramaki, that's for sure.
But the problem is, I guess, like, because here's the thing, and like we can say like, okay, not conventionally attractive, but like has tons of riz.
Yeah.
But we do have to compare him to the Ghoul, who's definitely has to be on the podium.
Right.
Yes.
And Dr. Tenma, who definitely has to be on the podium. and the Grunkles, who like, like I get it more. I'm less willing to go to Superbat for them, but I would feel more understanding if someone calls the Grunkles a stunning hot old men than I would Aramaki.
The thing about Gravity Falls is that when I told my friend group that I was finally watching Gravity Falls, one of my friends immediately texted me back with, "Oh yeah, a stunning example of I want to fuck that old man." So like, I think that's just mainstream thought, right? So I think that's more
I think
valid than Aramaki, who definitely has riz for days. If like even the major is like, "Oh yeah," like she never would.
There's that.
But I think she respects Aramaki.
Listen, I think if Aramaki was 50 years younger, he might have a shot, which is the reason he's that old.
Here's the wretched thing.
Yeah.
You have to contend with the fact that if you put the Grunkles within Gravity Falls in there, they would count higher than Tenma.
No.
Right?
No.
So, well, no. I'm just saying, like, here's how I'd podium place it. So you got to contend with that fact. If it's Aramaki, he goes underneath as he's supposed to.
Right.
So
I see.
My
So
thing
you're
is, like,
trying to rig Oates' votes. I understand.
Okay. Listen, okay. I want to get out my biggest the biggest example I have of Aramaki's level of riz, which is that episode where I think what happens is the major like falls in some water or falls in a dumpster. So during the debriefing, she's like in her underwear.
Yeah.
And Aramaki finishes the debriefing and he says, "By the way, Major, are you trying to catch my attention with that outfit?" And I'm like, the fact that this man thinks that's a possibility. His riz is endless.
His riz is like unstoppable. That's true.
the thing is, I guess the thing is, no, you know what?
I have to rig the vote. I think Tenma should win this one, and that reason alone is why we have to cut the Grunkle twins.
I was gonna say I might just say cut the Grunkle twins, not even for that, but because I think having Aramaki in the podium creates a more robust tableau of hot old men.
Yeah,
true.
Because the Ghoul, Dr. Tenma, and Aramaki are all completely different kinds of beasts.
Correct.
And it makes me look worse.
None of the Ghoul, Dr. Tenma, or Aramaki are what I would describe as silver foxes, like I would the Grunkles.
Yeah, that's
right?
actually true. Yeah,
they are old men,
right? Who are hot. Whereas like Aramaki is like an elderly man who is just like bursting with charisma, right? And Dr. Tenma is just hot.
And like the thing is, like, if my grandmother told me she was marrying again and I met a guy who looked like the Grunkle Funkles, I would be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Sure.
Any of the other three would be like, God damn, lady.
You would go, what do they have going on?
That's right. Okay, then in that case, yes. As much as it pains me to say so, and specifically it pains my Tumblr likes to say so, we have to cut the Grunkles.
I think you have to cut the Grunkles, unfortunately.
Which does bring us to the very honorable podium of the Ghoul, Dr. Tenma, and Aramaki. And even though I have my personal pick for gold, this is Oates' category, and frankly, I'm happy with the arrangement however it shakes.
That's correct.
So, by removing the twins, I no longer have to go like, well, I'm getting 2 of them, so they place higher than everybody else.
That's fair. Good point.
Which means that these guys get placed a bit more, I guess, more sensibly. Which is, Dr. Tenma takes gold.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Look, I am a simple woman. My favorite character in OKKO is Dr. Venomous, who is just a Dr. Tenma like. And he's voiced by Keith David in the dub.
He's voiced by Keith David in the dub!
Instant and immediate, just like, they understand the worst part of Tenma.
It's insane, because, like, I'd seen Dr. Tenma in other Astro Boy stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's fair. I mean, he just kind of looks goofy. And then you watch Pluto, and it's like getting hit in the head with a bat. You're just like, what the fuck?
It is, I think, to me, a testament to the artistic excellence of Naoki Urasawa.
Yes!
That he looked at Dr. Tenma from Astro Boy, a character who looks the way he does. His name and appearance are meant to evoke a horse, right?
Yeah. Right.
Like, he's just sort of like a really weird-looking guy, and Urasawa's just like, but I can make him a hot grandpa.
I can make him a baddie. I can
what,
make him a turbo baddie.
You know what I'm realizing right now? Is that we have 2 Dr. Wily XPs on this list.
That's fine.
You can't say that about Aramaki. That's rude.
Aramaki looks like Dr. Wily.
I know, but it's still rude.
You're right. I also take offense to you calling Dr. Tenma a Dr. Wily XP when it is the other way around.
That actually.
I mean, yeah, it's the other. That's correct. That's true. But you know, it's the same. It's a Venn diagram, and in the middle is Dr. Wily.
Right. Yeah, but
But, like, here's the thing, and, like, it's deserving of special, like, acknowledgement. They took this guy and made him look like the other way. They took this guy and got this exact character on this list.
I feel like the title card should just be this picture and then also Pluto Dr. Tenma side by side, just so everybody understands. Because, like, wait... Where's the really good one? There's a bunch.
Anyway, Oates, continue.
So this is all a play to make sure that Aramaki got second place.
I'm gonna kill you with a rock.
We were tricked. It was a complete bamboozle.
No, I respect you, even though I don't agree.
Because I do appreciate and like the Ghoul a lot. But the trick is, and this is going to be a weird hot take, they did a wonderful job in making him such an obvious and, like, haggard-looking ghoul. But they, ironically, by doing so, they did such a good makeup job, they age him up. Or, like, they age him down. He looks younger. With the makeup on.
Fair.
Fair.
He is not a stunning hot old man. He's just a stunning hot 30-year-old.
That's true.
That's correct.
Because his actor is not actually that old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like 50 and just smokes a lot.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to accept he is in his 40s. If I didn't know what his actor looked like off screen.
You know what the thing that really de-ages the Ghoul?
What?
Is that he does not have Walton Goggins' hairline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Walton Goggins' crazy hairline is definitely, like, the thing that makes him look older, right?
Yeah.
But
Walton Goggins was great casting
in a way
for...
that, like, looks like he shaved.
Right.
So, like, he looks young.
Walton Goggins was great casting for that role, not because he particularly sells the facial prosthetics of the Ghoul in a way that's somehow better than anyone else could, but because when you see him as a real person, you go... Yeah, that's a guy that people would have thought was super handsome in the 50s.
That is a 1950s actor, yeah. It's fantastic.
And again, not to disparage Walton Goggins, he's not like a bad looking guy by any means, but he is like very dehydrated and smokes a lot, and it has an effect on his appearance that you simply don't get for people of his age normally.
Yeah.
Right.
He can also do things with his face that make him look more like a 50s actor.
Right.
Like, have you seen that man smile?
He's got a big old toothy smile. It's true.
That man was made for period pieces.
That's fair. You know what? Acceptable. Yeah. I don't like it, but I accept it. And it's your category, Oates. So.
And honestly, like, the ghoul has one kid with a wife who possibly didn't even like him that much. Aramaki has a girl of the week.
Aramaki polls.
It's insane.
They got the English voice actor is a guy who did a lot of roles in pornography for a reason, I think. That is a guy who has that is a guy. Rest in peace, King. That is a guy who has a lot of credits for pornography on IMDb.
That's amazing.
I just think about like the episodes of TNG where Picard has like the archaeological thief sidekick who's half his age.
No, Vash.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's an Aramaki move.
It is an Aramaki. It literally is an Aramaki move. Yeah, because we watched that episode where he basically does Die Hard in like a wine.
Yeah.
Like securities vault, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like the insane amount of Riz on that old man.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. I totally get it. Fair.
So I'll just post an image here because it is relevant to what we've been talking about for Icon.
And also, and I hate to be this person, the ghoul didn't distract me from playing more video games. I just went right back to playing.
Play more video games.
It did in fact encourage you to play more video games. So yeah.
So Aramaki wins over him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Good. Sarah actually made the proper comparison too. Great.
I made a title card if we want to use that. So
excellent.
People
next,
were really confused for most of the episode.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Next is mine. The Have You Heard About This award for Thing I Should Have Gotten Into Years Ago. This is the category for things that I'm just getting into now that I really want to talk about, but can't because they're like a decade old.
Right.
The nominees for this are Star Trek The Next Generation, Twin Peaks, Gravity Falls, the IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic, Indiana Jones, and Okami.
Okay. I do have to ask about those last two, Ben. Do you mean Indiana Jones as in up until recently you've only seen like maybe bits and pieces of the film on television?
I have seen up until recently, I have seen less of Indiana Jones than I had of Star Wars before I actually sat down to watch the movies.
Wow.
I know of Indiana Jones through pop culture memes and jokes and references.
Right.
Conversely, Ben, award for things you should have gotten into Okami. Have you started playing Okami?
Yes, I have started playing Okami.
Okay.
I haven't.
I was debating what kind of thing I was going to threaten you with vis-a-vis forcing this into your podium or forcing it off, unless you immediately abandoned all streaming plans to begin a playthrough of Okami.
No, I am playing Okami by myself, and I have sank a couple. I have sank a good number of hours into Okami already.
Okay, good.
Damn, this is actually kind of hard. I think an easy cut. I know that you specify IDW, TMNT, but you were already a TMNT fan before IDW, right? It's it's like, yeah, of course you ran out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, and now you've got to read the comics. So
you were probably always going to get to IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, exactly.
This would be like if you had the Beast Wars anime in here for Transformers.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This is kind of like, it's not gotten into years ago. You've been in the collective fandom. You're just this new installment is a new installment.
I'm going to the new restaurant that opened.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still in the same town.
Yeah. You didn't move.
Yeah.
So that's an easy one. Now it gets a little harder.
Man,
I know.
Ben's never seen Indiana Jones.
Never seen Indiana Jones.
I was gonna suggest. Here's the thing, and like I like Indiana Jones. Don't get me wrong. I was going to suggest cutting Indiana Jones only because of the 5 things we have left, I feel like it's simply the least important.
I think now, this is my argument, Saturn. Like collectively among all of us, least important. A character like Ben, with the personality that Ben has,
Indiana Jones is the most
never
important.
touched Indiana Jones.
Yeah, the Indiana Jones is the most important, honestly.
That's the
Ben.
weird. That's a weird one.
Yeah.
Like, no offense, Ben.
Here's the thing. I don't think just because it's like off character doesn't. The thing is, he should have gotten in 2 years ago.
Sure.
And the answer is like,
yeah.
I don't think Ben needed to be in a particular rush for Indiana Jones. It's like,
that's
okay.
a good point. That's a good point.
I guess so. I think it's just kind of like.
Like it's a lot like the fact that like I only very recently watched Die Hard for the first time, where it's like, well, yeah, Die Hard's a great movie. I'm glad I watched it, but it wasn't exactly like absent from my cultural tableau. You know what I mean?
Sure, understandable.
I think it's just kind of like a. It's kind of like how. It's kind of like how. Friend of the Discord, Sev, has never seen The Matrix before.
Right.
I haven't seen The Matrix before.
What?
Oh.
I've just never made time for it.
Oh my god, we're having movie night soon. Please look forward to that on the Gorge. Or on the Disgorge, because it's... Yeah, no, that's incredible.
Here's the... I was not in the age bracket to watch that movie until they started getting really bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, by the time I was at an age at which I... Oh, my phone. By the time I was at an age at which I could have actually been like, I want to watch The Matrix, everyone was like, man, these new Matrix movies fucking suck ass. And I'm like, well, I guess I don't have to care.
Right. Well, usually you watch the first one, yeah, and the Animatrix, it's good. But I am actually going to vote to cut Twin Peaks, and I'll tell you why. Because you're not done with it yet. I think I agree already. You're not done with it yet. You haven't watched The Return. And once you watch The Return, then you'll have a fuller understanding of should you have gotten into this years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel
because we're currently in a we're currently in a Schrodinger's box situation where we don't know whether or not you should have gotten into this years ago.
Depends on how you feel about The Return. It may make you feel like this was all a huge goddamn waste of your time, or you may come out of it thinking, no, that was great actually. I'm glad I watched all of Twin Peaks, right?
Yep. I have something to say about that, but I'll hold my tongue until I'm down to 3.
Fair.
Okay. I was gonna say because I think either like it's a toss up between whether you feel like, oh, the magic of Twin Peaks has been completely ruined for me, or, oh, that was a neat experience that I will not, for better or worse, I will not have from any other media ever again.
That's correct.
Because no one is audacious enough to make Twin Peaks The Return in basically any other medium. For better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
But
probably worse. I don't know. But, like, I like it. It's fun. I like it the way I like Baki, which is the thing I find myself saying constantly.
Okami definitely needs to stay. I think Twin Peaks can go.
Why isn't Baki on here, by the way?
Yeah, Ben, what the hell?
No, because I started watching
like a podium placer.
I started watching Baki at the right time.
That's true. You know what, Ben? Yeah, that is the most correct thing any one of us has said in this entire endeavor.
That's correct.
You picked the absolute correct time to start Baki. I think we have to cut either Twin Peaks or Gravity Falls because I don't think they can both be in the podium.
There's that
Good
too.
Point. I also have that problem on my list. Don't worry about it.
I also I do kind of want to lean on cutting Gravity Falls, if only because it is mostly just doing things that Twin Peaks did. Like, it does have its own thing, but it is nakedly... It would be like if Alan Wake was on here also, and you go like...
Yeah.
Well, like, you give it to the one that's actually in generating all these tropes the other ones are playing with, because it's the actual cultural grandfather, right?
That is a good point. Saturn makes a good point.
Yeah. So I think Gravity Falls, and weirdly, I don't know, it's a toss-up between Okami and Indiana Jones, and I'm thinking Okami just because... It's another you're not done with it. But then you haven't watched all the Indiana Jones movies yet either, have you?
I have not.
You've only watched the first one, right?
Yes.
Damn. How many hours into Okami are you?
10?
I guess I also feel like... And I think Okami is objectively better and more important to go through than Indiana Jones. But at the same time, I feel like knowing the things that Ben likes... is more likely to get stuff that is resonant and like inspiring out of the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Yeah, that's
than
that's
Okami, which is
yeah,
like mostly just a good video game.
Yeah, that's
Okami's a good video game, but also like Clover Studios also made Beautiful Joe.
It's kind of Indiana Jones is the same thing as Monkey Island, where it feels like it's something Ben should have watched or been a fan of his whole life because it's very Ben core franchise, right? It's weird. I'm sorry that we have to talk about you like you're not here, but you did make this category kind of lean into
like
that,
I'm a
right?
specimen.
Yeah,
and I did suggest the rules change that encourage us all to talk about our friends like they're specimens.
Yeah.
But it's like it would be so like in an alternate universe where Ben had seen the entirety of the Indiana Jones series and Back to the Future was on there, I would also be like, hey, so that needs to be like a podium place.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
I think that's fair.
Like they both kind of come from the same place of this is an 80s movie, like an 80s movie, like 80s series of films that I think are like fundamentally developmental for Ben's personality, and it's weird that he hasn't watched them.
Yeah.
I'm okay cutting.
Love of like, especially with your like love of pulpy action shit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm okay cutting Okami with the caveat of Ben. I'm really glad you're finally getting to Okami. It's one of my favorite games.
too.
I'm also really glad I'm getting to Okami. It's a game I can't.
So many of these things they're on this list.
It's a game that I can't stream. I would love to stream it, but I can't because it's like 100 hours long.
yeah,
It's not
pretty
100 hours long.
substantial.
It's like 50 hours. Everyone,
only 50.
If anyone says that game's longer than 60 hours, they're either bad at the video game or haven't played it.
Okay.
I played Okami when I was like when I was like bad at video games in like middle school, and like did a relatively completionist playthrough, and it took me less than 60 hours.
Okay.
However, I do think we do need at some point to successfully trick the Gigaboots into trying to death stream Okami, and then that will kill one of them, I'm certain.
Yeah.
Dan will have a heart attack on stream, and they will have to stop making the show forever because he will have died from being awake for 47 hours.
Yeah. I love this plan. We'll kill our primary competition. It's a great idea.
It's so flattering to our podcast that we refer to the Gigaboots as competition.
Yeah,
they don't know. They do not know we exist.
Know we're here. I know.
Okay, 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 Frieza soldier. Yeah, you can definitely stand up to Vegeta.
No,
okay,
it's
Upfool, you stand a chance.
Yeah.
I feel I love our podcast, but we are also the equivalent of playing Dragon Ball Fighter Z and going, I mean Cyberman.
Yeah.
Oh god.
All right, well, we're down to 3.
Here's your podium.
I'm going to put Twin Peaks as bronze. Because you're right. I should have gotten into Twin Peaks season 1 years and years ago. I should have not watched Twin Peaks season 2.
That's correct.
I didn't like Twin Peaks season 2 pretty much most of the time. Yeah. I did not like Twin Peaks season 2, which is why I'm excited to get to Fire Walk with Me and The Return to see if they can pull it around.
Sure.
And I'll tell you this now because it will save you some time, potential heartbreak. If you watch Fire Walk with Me and you go, I don't know that I liked that very much, you probably do not need to watch The Return.
Right.
Well, we'll see.
The Return has a lot more in common with Fire Walk with Me than it does the original series. Like, tonally, at least.
Well, we'll see. And now for these two. Because you're right, in that Indiana Jones is like Monkey Island, in which it should have always existed, and it kind of did in spirit. But the exact specifications of it... In fact, I should probably replay Monkey Island at some point.
Oh, we were in event of something very important.
Yeah, there's all the other Monkey Island games.
I feel like Indiana Jones is just one of those things where you have consumed so many things that are directly inspired by it that to a certain extent you have like filled it in your inspiration thing through cultural osmosis, which is why everyone's like, what the fuck, you haven't watched Indiana Jones?
Right, like I haven't watched it because I haven't needed to, because I've seen all the things that were inspired by Indiana Jones.
It's like one of those things, like, I don't get that surprised when people who are like younger than, I don't know, 30 haven't watched NGE, not because I don't think it's not important to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion, but because it has been so thoroughly ripped off by literally everything that it is conceivable that you would not feel the need to seek it out.
See, here's my thing. When we're like younger than 30, I immediately have the filter of, well, that makes sense. Reruns are no longer a thing for like anybody, like under the age of 28, right?
Yeah.
But Ben's our age. He's watched TV. He knows that they play movies all the fucking time.
His ability to have avoided any of Indiana Jones up until the last month or two is frankly impressive.
Yeah,
it's harder.
I think
it would. I feel like it would be like if Sara told me that she literally had no idea what any of or what servants were in any of the Fate Extella games.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean you have literally no idea?
How?
You never saw a box art or anything?
Who are you?
You know what? I'm going to put Indiana Jones in silver.
Okay.
Because I can understand this about myself. I should have spent the entirety of my friendship with Sara, basically, should have been going, oh, that's like that episode of TNG.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. We should have been making that joke for years. We should have been fucking Mike and Rich, right?
Yeah. Like I should have been, much like the way I do with Yakuza or JoJo, been annoying Sara by going, oh yeah, that's like in that episode of TNG where Worf does this.
Right, yeah, totally.
If you develop an encyclopedic like knowledge of things that happen in all the episodes of Star Trek, like I might have to like move out of the country. I worry for my life. I think you'll be deploying it at me so often that I worry I'll go commit a crime.
What I'm very excited.
Here's the problem, Saturn.
Yeah.
Think about all the times he does it about The Simpsons.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
You already do.
And I have to stress, this is respect. I wish I had your memory. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, I don't either.
Start believing in TNG references, Saturn. You're in one.
I'm scared of your ability to remember a thing that happened in an episode of a TV show that you really liked. Because I'll tell you what, Ben, I watch lots of TV that I really, really like, and gun to my head, I would forget it. I could not tell you what happens in most of the episodes of Samurai Champloo.
Hey, Saturn. Saturn, you know what? I have something to say in response to that.
What's that?
Wish I could remember my mom's birthday.
You know what? Fair point.
Fair.
I'll give you that. Well, I can't begrudge you that. You're right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't worry. I got the episode where Worf gets hit with an empty barrel on lock. I don't know when my sister got married.
That sounds. Look. That's her business. I don't need to concern myself with that.
Good.
Now here's the thing, Ben, and I do agree because I know my mom's birthday. Haha, rub it in. I've been working at my current job for maybe 2 or 3 years, and aside from the people who I directly report to, who are friends of the family, despite the fact that these are some of these people I talk to multiple times a week, I could not confidently tell you the name of a single person I work with at this job that I have had for the last 3 years.
If I was not seeing my coworkers' names on Teams constantly, I wouldn't
know any
either.
of them. Yeah, same.
That's fair. All this to say, memory is a very funny thing, and I'm glad Star Trek TNG got the gold in this category.
Yeah, I can't wait to finish the trilogy of series so that I can do the thing where I can just put episodes on while I'm working on something else and just absorb them.
Like passively soak it in.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
You will be able to rewire your brain into a machine that can produce episodes of Star Trek.
Yes.
We fed all these Star Trek episodes into a neural network. It's Ben's brain, and then we asked him to make a new one.
6 years down the line, when we when we've all forgotten enough of Star Trek, he's gonna just show up and do the my brother and me thing, where he invents an episode and then comes up and then gives us 3 other synopses, and we have to guess which one's the fake.
Oh my god! I would love to play JoJo's bullshit adventure with Star Trek episodes. Are you kidding me?
Here's the thing. I guarantee.
that.
I guarantee you, if you did like Star Trek: The Sham Generation or whatever, and we had to guess which ones are real and which ones are fake, Ben, I think I did pretty good at the JoJo's Bullshit Adventure thing. I think I had most of those on lock, if I recall rightly.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you will be able to beat me like a dog at chess. Okay, it will be no contest.
I might.
We can do that for TNG at the very least.
Yeah,
TNG.
I might have to do that for TNG.
Fuck yes, let's go.
Ben, here's the thing, and I can confidently assert this. Having watched all of Voyager, if you watch just like the first season of Voyager, you could do that for Voyager, and despite the fact that I have seen all 7 seasons of Voyager, I would still lose.
I might have to do this.
Okay.
Stay tuned for this some point down the
more
line.
Patreon content.
I just cursed all of us.
Yay!
Anyway, Sarah, it's your turn.
Hey, the last award of the night. I didn't think we would go for longer than 2 hours, but here we are. So it's been a bad year. That's all I'll say. So my award is Sarah's award for the best thing to distract her from the horrors while also reminding her of the horrors. Which the nominees are Home Safety Hotline, Twin Peaks, 1000X Resist, Phantom Liberty, Mouthwashing, and Gravity Falls. I watched a lot of and played a lot of spooky shit this year for some reason. I can't imagine
Understandable.
why. And also Phantom Liberty, which is not the same.
Yeah.
I think the first cut I can make here is Phantom Liberty because it's the only one that doesn't have any horror elements in it at all.
It's the horrors of capitalism.
It's the horrors of being so me.
But also, Sarah comes back to that like for maybe like 10 hours a week, once a month. So it's not distracting her from the horrors that well.
Yeah. It's a slow burn.
It's a slow burn.
I think we can cut that one.
Okay.
I would be okay with that. I do like Phantom Liberty quite a lot, but it's okay. I would also
a really good game.
I would also suggest I'm going to make an argument for cutting Mouthwashing from the podium, because the horrors of Mouthwashing mostly make me ruminate even more on the horrors,
now,
and so
the category is while also reminding her of the horrors.
But do they? But the thing is, I worry. Does Mouthwashing distract from the horrors? Because it's so horrible.
It's so horrible.
It is about the horrors. It's not like Gravity Falls is a distraction. It is designed to be a fun, cute show that then you just get pulled into the horrors.
Right. Understandable. Okay. Sure. Wait.
I think
it's you guys' decision.
I think Mouthwashing is a bit too on the nose.
I also just don't want Jim. I just don't want Jimmy to get any W's.
No, we do have to continue to deny Jimmy any W's other than Scumbag of the Year.
Mouthwashing is like oh man, I need to distract myself from this heartburn I've been having. I should eat this bulldog.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to distract myself from my overworked feet. Maybe if I just drop hammers on my toes repeatedly. Tough.
Does anybody know what Home Safety Hotline is?
That is the indie game where you play as basically the customer service person who deals with like a extermination company that basically you have to help the client get through their horror situation.
Yeah, you have to determine.
Is that the one where you have to diagnose what kind of creepy thing is infesting the person's household, or is that a different one?
That's it.
Okay.
That's Home Safety.
Yeah. That's about the extent to which I know of that one. I know that one has. The only other thing I know about that one is the incredibly funny post-game challenge mode it has, which is all right, here's the randomized unscripted one.
Yep.
We have denied you access to your ability to reference the details of the various things that you have to diagnose. And there are like 50 of those fucking things, and you just have to know them well enough to raw dog it.
It's a blast. I really liked Home Safety Hotline a lot. So yeah,
I think it's worth staying in there just because.
For now,
you know what I will say, and why I would argue for it being on the podium, what might be a thing that gets off the podium, is that Twin Peaks distracted from the horrors, but reminded of the horrors in a different way. Which is to say, The Return was a thing that was really bad that you didn't like.
I think,
and thus you said repeatedly that you resented the time that you spent watching it. So I think it might be categorically a failure in that regard.
But the first when is the reveal? First 12
episodes? Is I think they reveal the killer at 13, but I think it's about 12, something like that.
The first 12 to 13 episodes of Twin Peaks are like genuinely some of the best TV I've ever seen. Right?
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's like the hardest part.
I forgot you did the entire series this year. That does change
the entire series. Now, granted, I had seen Twin Peaks when I was in high school, but I had mostly forgotten all of it because I also hit the second half of season 2 wall and immediately dropped Twin Peaks, right?
That makes sense.
And then I kind of forgot about it because it didn't make that big of an impression on me. But now that I'm an adult and I've watched all of Twin Peaks, despite my dislike for the back half of Twin Peaks and also all of The Return, or the middle half of Twin Peaks season 2, I should say, and all of The Return, I still think the first 12 to 13 episodes of Twin Peaks are the greatest TV ever made. It's really hard.
I have one quick thing to say about Twin Peaks season 2 that I didn't mention earlier.
Yeah.
I fell asleep during multiple episodes of Twin Peaks season 2. No, that's
correct. Yeah, no, I struggled. I got through because I actually really liked the season finale of Twin Peaks season 2, a lot.
I just don't think Wyndham Earle is a compelling villain.
Wyndham Earle is not a compelling villain whatsoever, but the cosmic knowledge that immediately unlocked in my brain upon seeing the finale for Twin Peaks season 2 was like watching all of Star Wars for the first time ever, right? But it was only the last 10 minutes of a TV show. And it just felt like getting hit with a bat to the side of the head because I was just I understand now. I get why everyone's insane. It clicked instantly, right? Because it's not just, sorry to turn this into Twin Peaks Power Hour, but you're 2.5 hours into this 3-hour podcast? 2 hours and 45 minutes in. You're not going anywhere. It's not just that Twin Peaks episodes 1 to 13 are some of the best TV ever made. It's that Twin Peaks episodes 1 to 13 are some of the best TV ever made, and then the second season ends on probably the most catastrophic cliffhanger I've ever seen, and then it went away for 25 years.
Yeah.
And everybody had to live with that. Everybody had to deal with that for 25 years, and it drove everybody completely fucking batty, right? And that's how we ended up with Persona 4 and Diamonds Are Unbreakable and
that's how you ended up with. That's how you ended up with Final Fantasy VII ending the way it did, and then going, "No, we don't need to release any kind of follow up to this for 6 years."
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's clear that this is going to end up being a podium placer for similar reasons as the last one. We gotta bump Gravity Falls off.
I think I agree. I think Gravity Falls is a bit too comforting. It's horrors. But I think much in the same way that I watched Amphibia when I was going through some hard times.
Now, okay, sorry to get real. No, hold on. We got to get real for 2 seconds. I did watch all of Gravity Falls 2 days after my dog died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I've been operating on the assumption that Gravity Falls is going to be on this podium no matter what. I think
if anything is
I would sooner cut literally.
Horrors.
Yeah, I would cut literally any. Again, it's not my place to decide what gets gold, obviously, but I would cut literally any of the other 3, even 1,000 X Resist before I remove Gravity Falls from that.
So here's the thing, Sarah, and correct me, maybe it's different for you, but for me, I cannot. It'll take a long time before I can rewatch Amphibia, because I sacrificed it on the altar of mental stability when I was going through some very rough mental times, and now that reminds me of the bad time.
No, this will not remind me. It will remind me of the fact that I was happy in the 2 days after a very bad thing happened to me. So I would be able to rewatch. I mean, honestly, if you put Gravity Falls on my TV right now, I wouldn't move for 2.5 days. You know.
I think if Sarah had the same relation to the comfort media that you did with Amphibia, I do not think I would be seeing as much Grunkle Stan on Tumblr right now.
That's correct.
That's true. I mean, yeah, but also there wasn't like a hot older lady in Amphibia for me to be attracted to.
Yeah, that's why you should have watched.
Oh, maybe that is the weakness of that's the skill issue of Amphibia. I think
you should have watched the Owl House instead of Amphibia, and then Ben also could have been insane too. Yay!
I think on this, I think Gravity Falls is the podium placer. I think I would cut Home Safety Hotline.
That's fair.
Because the horrors that it reminds you of are probably a bit more abstract and movie horror than, you know, the dramatic realness of 1000X Resist.
Sure.
I guess I would I was really just for a moment still like, no, I think it should be Twin Peaks, but thinking about it, I feel like even when Twin Peaks is bad, there is enough things in it to reflect on to qualify as distraction. Like when we spend an extensive amount of time talking about like the insane divorced man politics of Stephen Lynch, or David Lynch.
David Lynch,
I always get his name confused with a extremely edgy like aughts comedian Stephen Lynch for some reason. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why.
It's the V and the Lynch.
Yeah, I guess that's it. But like even when we're talking about shit like that, talking about Twin Peaks being like Twin Peaks' worst parts is at least also itself a distraction from the horrors.
That's correct.
And a thing that makes up for the parts of it that are bad.
Yeah. I did put just like a little justification here. I put Home Safety Hotline on here mostly because I just can't stop thinking about all them little guys. There's so many different kinds of little guys in Home Safety Hotline, and I love them, but like it's not quite the same as like as all-consuming as the other 3 things on this list have been. I just like all them little dudes that are like, please play Home Safety Hotline. It's a really fun little romp of a video game, and it's full to bursting with little dudes.
I like the sound of that.
It's got little
of
guys.
The little guys. So yeah, I guess Home Safety Hotline.
Home Safety Hotline, I think, should get the cut. I think Twin Peaks, 1000X Resist, and Gravity Falls are the 3 that should be on the podium.
That's fair.
I think that is a very strong podium, and I do not envy Sarah for having to decide what goes where.
Honestly, it's actually not that hard because 1000X Resist kicked me in the mouth so hard at a very interesting time in my life that it can only be gold. 1000X Resist is like a game I have not stopped thinking about since I played it. It is so good, but it is also so reminiscent of the horrors, right? But it's like, but it was also so different that in the moment while I was playing it, I wasn't thinking about that stuff. I was just thinking about like all of the pieces that it's made of just like this really cool like extremely high concept setting, right? Everybody is dead except for the clones of 2 high school girls, right?
Right.
And like all of the weird relationships that happen between all of these girls who are both their own people and not related, but are all also technically sisters, but also no, they're not, because they're so like detached from being sisters at this point that they're not, but they're also all like still connected in some capacity, right? And yeah, I also don't have sisters, so I was able to like use it as a distraction instead of just like crushing destruction, right? So yeah, no, I really liked 1000X Resist. It's weird to say I liked it more than Twin Peaks, but also that 1000X Resist doesn't have the return. So, you know, understand.
Yeah, the only parts of 1000X Resist that are infuriatingly bad are the things that they patched out
by
adding maps and shit.
Yeah. So they fixed it. It's fine.
You can't patch out the bad parts of Twin Peaks, no matter how you may try.
You can creatively edit it and it still won't work because it's still
Can you imagine a release of Twin Peaks where it's like it's the machete cut of Twin Peaks and it's we axed every single unnecessary bit from season 2 and also edited the return down to be like 8 episodes?
I think you could edit the return down to be 8 episodes and it would probably be a better TV show for it. Honestly.
We cut out Bobby.
Might make Saturn want to kill me. But
here's the thing. I like 17 episode The Return because I like it is.
You like all the weird shit, yeah.
It's like eating an extraordinarily spicy pepper. I know in my heart of hearts this isn't for me.
Right.
And it's not good for me. It is, in fact, extremely hostile to me. That's why it's so spicy.
Sure.
Yeah.
But also, while the version of it that is cooked down to taste better and be less aggressive is, like, objectively culinarily better and something I would want to eat more, I also just like the uniqueness of the experience of eating a pepper and then wishing I would die for 9.5 hours.
Saturn is nothing if not that one otter who is not enjoying eating that watermelon but eating it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the entire existence hinges upon that image.
Totally. So now I have to decide between two things that are very similar but happened at two very different points in my life. Silver is Gravity Falls, just because, again, it is a thing I watched after my dog died. Not to be heavy, but whatever. My dog died this year. What are you gonna do? And it was like the perfect show to just watch while I was in a sadness coma, because I was like, cartoonish joy, and I loved it. I enjoyed every second of it. It was exactly what I needed, just to like lay on the couch. Oates would come home from work and just be like, "Are you still watching Gravity Falls?" I'm like, "Yes."
It was a good show.
It's a great show. It's like, it's probably going to become like a new like Halloween show for me because it's so Halloween-y, which is weird because it's set in summer, but don't worry about it.
That's just Oregon for you.
That's just Oregon. That's true. That's a good point.
I mean, what do they call the episode? Did they have
Summerween?
Yeah.
So there's a Summerween. It works. But yeah, no, I like that show a lot. I think it is made of the same stuff that Courage the Cowardly Dog and Ah Real Monsters is. Which is to say, your cartoons should traumatize your kids a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's, when you put it like that, that's very true.
I think the actual problem with the modern generation is that none of their cartoons traumatize them.
It's true.
Right? It's true.
Nope.
None of your cartoons.
Absolutely not.
You don't have any cartoons that have like weird fucked up imagery in them that make you insane. And that's absolutely vital to your early development. That's like
if you're raising a child now and they are in like the elementary school age at which they are prepared to begin dealing with difficult content or difficult, at least as far as an elementary school would be concerned, you are obliged to make them watch Over the Garden Wall at some point. Correct. It's necessary. You have to train them with a little bit of uncomfortable spookiness so they can develop a richer palate in their adult.
Absolutely.
Sarah, can I tell you something you'll be proud of?
Please.
My 4-year-old nephew loves A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes!
Good.
We've done it.
We're training a new generation of goths as we speak.
We're gonna save these kids if it kills us all.
In 10 or 15 years, that little bastard's gonna be hanging out the Hot Topic buying anime t-shirts.
Yeah.
Right. As God intended.
It's one reason why I prefer pivoting everybody should watch the Owl House over like things like Amphibia or DuckTales, because it does do the horrifying thing of just absolutely traumatizing children with visuals that they should not be allowed to see, and yet here we are.
The thing is cartoons nowadays don't have "Is this the end of Paper Jam Dipper?"
That's correct. That's correct. It's perfect. It's just really good, like in terms of being like a good show you can watch as a grown-up without being like so far up its own ass like some shit can be, right? And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I really liked the Book of Bill. because it was Baby's first House of Leaves.
Yeah.
I also like a lot, surprising no one. So yeah, no, but 1000 X Resist is like probably my favorite thing that I did this year, despite the horrors. So yeah, no, it's good. Please buy 1000. It didn't get any recognition from the Game Awards or anybody really.
It did win a lot of smaller awards though.
It did.
I don't even think it didn't even get rep at the Steam Awards, which pisses me the frick off.
Yeah.
Although very funny that the devs reported that they had their biggest spike of sales literally ever after the Game Awards because people were talking about how much it got snubbed.
Well, good for them.
They had like a
Good
huge surge of sales after the Game Awards, so I guess it worked out in the end. But like, if you haven't bought it yet, please buy 1000 X Resist. I would like for these devs to make more things. And to make more things with the kind of weird, fucked up imagery that 1000 X Resist has, because only Yoko Taro is doing it like them, right? Like nobody else is doing it like them.
And he's not doing much since they banished him to the bizarre phone game mine.
Yeah, no, they put him in the card game mine for some reason. So really, it's only them doing that kind of shit. So please, play 1000 X Resist. It's really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. Hopefully 2025 is going to be a better year. So far, it's only been what,
15 days.
15 days, and it's been okay so far.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed, people. We can survive it somehow.
That's it for the awards.
We did it!
It only took longer than any other Gorgies ever. Because we're insane.
It's a good way to get all of our final feelings out about like stuff we did in the year, so I guess it paid off.
It was, however, the most fun Gorgies I've ever been.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a blast.
I love this format. Do you all mind if I just real quick do my top 5 games of the year?
Oh, go for it, please.
Okay.
I only have 3 for mine, I think. But yeah. I was wondering if you were going to do like actual, because we don't actually have a category for that in the awards.
Right.
Award,
yeah. No, because it's just a personal thing. But I just want to get mine out of the way real quick, off my chest real quick, because I've been thinking about them for 365 days.
Yeah, fair.
Number 5 is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. One of my favorite games of all time. Got a remake that was absolutely incredible. It barely changed anything, and the only thing it did change were things that it should have fixed. So it's even better than the GameCube version. And it's just everything exactly the same as it should be. Number 4 is 1000 X Resist, a game that left me feeling hollow and empty inside when I finished. It made me feel the kind of twisting knots that only true, like someone who has gone through that exact thing could only make the game that they made. Like, this is a real experience.
Yeah.
It felt so viscerally accurate to the devs' lives that I would be surprised to learn they did not go through something similar.
Sure.
Right? Like, it is one of the most powerfully narrative games I've ever played. Number 3 is Balatro.
Yay!
Damn, coming in strong for such a late edition.
Yeah, it is a game that wasn't on this list until recently when I realized I was playing Balatro. And went, oh yeah, I'm playing Balatro while thinking about my games of the year. It should probably be on this list. Yeah, no, Balatro is one of the most addicting things I've ever experienced in my life. I can't stop. It's so fucking good. It's just, the numbers go up.
The numbers go big up, yes.
It's the exact opposite of 1000 X Resist in every way. It's just cards and the numbers. There's points.
And they go up.
Oh my god. Number 2 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Doing the stream with y'all was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. Yay! It was an absolute delight. As the categories show, it also has Queen's Blood, which means that it's definitely high up there for that alone. But also the expansion that it puts on the narrative of the original game, the new things it adds, the game feel is such a step up above Remake, that it was just an absolute delight, and I'm super excited for part 3 whenever that comes out. And number 1, of course, is Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth.
Yeah.
Ichiban Kasuga is my second favorite protagonist in video game history. He is right underneath Sora, and I think if Ichiban came first, he would be my favorite.
Sure.
But, like, he is one of the most endearing and influential protagonists I've ever seen in a video game. And I'm so glad that he is the new face of this franchise. There was literally a scene in Infinite Wealth where Kiryu says, "I'll handle the Yakuza's past and you handle its future." Like, it's a bold move to suddenly do a dramatic shift from protagonists like this in a series that's gone on this long, but they pull it off. And that's my top 5.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yay.
I think I also have 5. I think I thought about it a little more, and I think I have 5. Number 5 goes to mouthwashing. Even though Jimmy is my number 1 enemy of all time. That is a really fun 2.5-hour experience. I'm glad there's in a year where the Silent Hill 2 remake came out, I'm glad there's still people who know what makes psychological horror work. Makes me really happy. Number 4 is Baldur's Gate 3, which I know wasn't from this year, but I played it this year, so fuck you, it's fine.
That counts.
That is Larian makes the most insane video games of all time. I really wish there were more CRPGs that just could possibly steal from the insane degree of like weirdly simulationist systems and like crazy interactions that you can do in those games. Baldur's Gate 3 is really successful, has a fun cast. Quite like that. Number 3 is Buckshot Roulette.
Yeah,
it's Buckshot Roulette.
And
like
fun.
I think the original release might not have charted because it's so quick, but the addition of multiplayer has really elevated. I still sit around and think like, man, despite having had a mildly physically traumatic blackout drunk episode from our Buckshot Roulette drinking game, I would literally, no warning, drop everything, reinstall that to do another round of multiplayer Buckshot.
Yeah, I keep it installed. I fucking love
it's in
Buckshot
megabytes. Like, you can keep that in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Second place is Anthology of the Killer, which also, technically, a bunch of that came out in years prior, but it only all came out finally as a full single release this year, and I only played any of them this year. Despite like the inspiring quality of it being like a solo Unity project that's really just like, no, we're going to be quick about this because I want to get these out there, and like being almost kind of brutalist and appropriately zany in that way. They get more ambitious with every release, and it's some of like the best writing of like just like the dry, bleak humor and introspectiveness of like anything I've played really recently. It'll be like, if not for what my obvious number 1 is, I would be like, yeah, this is probably one of the best written video games in recent memory. Anthology Killer is really smart, really funny, really charming. I highly recommend, even if you saw a stream like half of it, that you go get that game and play through it. It's not too long, and it's a complete blast. I think if you listen to this show, you would probably like it.
Yes.
My number 1 is 1000 X Resist for reasons we've already talked about.
Yeah,
of course, yeah, that makes sense.
That is a game that will probably... There are years where I will probably be like, 1000 X Resist was better than anything that came out this year.
That's correct.
That is a tremendous video game. I saw a post recently, or not recently, but like a couple months or weeks ago, that I really agree with, which is I feel weird about saying that 1000 X Resist is the best written sci-fi video game in recent memory, because I think the video game qualifier is unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's just like one of the better sci-fi stories that has come out recently, period, like in the last couple of years. It's
so high concept, right?
Yeah.
It's high concept. It's amazing. It's immaculately delivered. It presents its themes really well. All the images work together really well. And even if like you don't have a lot of experience with the specific things that it's about, because it's a game that is like very grounded in like the like Asian like second generation immigrant like lived experience, right?
Yeah.
But like even if you don't have that background, it delivers on the tensions and emotional stressors and everything from that so well that like it just lands no matter what.
Absolutely, because it still has like, if you don't have like that Asian diaspora trauma, like it is still also about like your mom made you insane, but she's still a person too. It's also about your friends drove you insane, but they're still people too, right? Like these are still feelings. Like your friends in high school were cruel to you, but they were like that for a reason, the same way you are like that for a reason. It's like a game just about like how everybody has their own inner world, which makes sense considering what you do in that game. Right?
And I think that's the thing about it that really works most for me, because it is kind of like, I want to say the entire like the heart of the game is like a relitigation of like the Hedgehog's Dilemma thing from the end of Evangelion, right?
Right.
Like you have to, like, I'm afraid of interacting with people because they can hurt me, but the joy of living is in interacting with people, and even though they can hurt you, they don't.
Right.
And part of that is like as like your main character reckoning the fact that like you have also been shitty to people and made other people's lives hell for like no reason other than it was easy or convenient or you thought it felt good at the time. And like working through the difficulty of having to have been a person who at one point in their life and maybe even now kind of sucks, but the only way that we can make it better is to like confront that and do what we can to make amends and try and if we can't undo the damage we've already done, at least try and make a future that we feel happier living in. Right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things going on in that game. I'm going to be thinking about it for a very long time.
And it's all of that like normal human level shit on top of the best sci-fi story of in recent memory.
The most like insane high concept, like zero grounding in the only grounding in reality is the fact that the near future took place at some point in the game's chronology, and most of the game has zero bearing on like a recognizable reality.
Right.
But despite this, it is extremely emotionally resonant the entire way through. The action's great, the intrigue's gripping. You're always like, oh fuck. You're always like on the edge of your seat for what's happening next and being surprised by everything. And it's just a really well-written and entertaining story, and also one that makes you think and makes you feel. And like, we just don't... and like saying it that way makes me feel stupid. But literally, for something that sounds so simple, it is doing it like no one else is.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a top 5 because I didn't play that much this year for the aforementioned horror reasons. But I mean, what do you want me to say? It's 1000 X Resist.
Yeah,
that's it. I also really enjoyed Dawn Trail, but you know,
understandable.
You know, I like Dawn Trail. It was fun. It was exactly the kind of levity I needed. And yeah, I like One Piece movies, so I like Dawn Trail. I like One Piece movies more than I like One Piece. So, you know.
There you go, yeah.
There you go.
I was for a moment I was like, well, why wasn't the One Piece anime adaptation on here? And I went, wait a minute.
That was last year.
Wait a second.
That was last fuck.
That was last year.
Fuck, I'm so old.
I know. Oops. Oats, any final thoughts? Any final things you want to get out of your system? Any yammering about a thing you love?
I mean, everybody else has kind of said the pieces that I would have said for the most part. I do kind of have a top 5, which is pretty simple.
Sure.
Number 1, I'm just getting it out of the way. It's Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. I don't talk about it very much, but I did end up like doing a let's play of it. And I guess to put this in words that to put it in words that like don't ruin a lot of things for Ben later on, it undoes a lot of the exhaustion of how much I hate Kiryu's story in a way that just makes me heartbroken that I'm never going to see him again.
Aww.
that's kind of about it. It's a fantastic, interesting game, and it deals with the fun, like the more interesting parts of the like Yakuza politics, quote unquote, which is the horrors of working and the exploitation of labor in a lot of like seedy underbelly and like working in brothels and the like. It's very sad. It's upsetting, and it's just terrible. And having them go about it in a way that's a lot less like schlocky and shock value than like Grand Theft Auto would is always just kind of refreshing.
Yeah, it's they do it in a very sobering, grounded way.
But this one was particularly just like, oh, that's so awful. It's like, it's sad. I hate it. But very close behind, like literally, like they are neck and neck right up until the end is 1,000 Times Resist, because it also just does the same thing of like just sort of make me sad and upset and insane. And I'm going to be thinking about the ending of both of those basically forever. I will probably, as time goes on, go 1,000 Times Resist is like the best game of that year.
Yeah.
But number 3 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because I still haven't gotten over that one either. Yeah. This has been a very sad year for video games. I'm sorry.
Like crying in video games, understandable.
A lot of upsetting things to think about. So, like, what else is there to say? We had like 2 separate 3.5-hour discussions about it. So, like, I'm done. Rebirth is sad. A bit of levity. Final Fantasy XI is good. Who knew? Dawntrail's great, but that it tricked me into playing Final Fantasy XI, which I am enjoying because it is just Final Fantasy XII on crack.
Understandable.
Oh, there's that. 5 goes to mouthwashing because traumas and horrors. And there's some special just quick special mentions. I'm delighted that once again a new Dragon Ball video game came out, and it just made me go back to playing Xenoverse 2 for a while. And then I was delighted to know that because it is such a live service game, when I played it, I had an utter delight realizing that it plays absolutely nothing like how I remembered. It's like when I played Final Fantasy XIV for the first time, I think like near the end of Stormblood, and then stopped playing, and then picked it back up like midway through Shadowbringers, going like, whoa, this is a completely different game. What the hell? Fate Stay Night, I can finally put it in a category of some kind because it's an official game in English. I love Fate. And about a week ago, a friend gifted me Atlas, and I started playing it. And I gotta say, I think that game's cute for being just like extremely schlocky multiplayer, where you just play as a little goblin.
You play as some fur affinity short stack creature.
Yes, that game. I've heard that game.
What's it called again?
Atlas.
It's ATLYSS.
It is fun. I like that game.
I own that game, but I haven't made time for it yet.
It plays like an early PS2 platformer.
Does it have multiplayer?
Yeah, it's multiplayer.
Oh fuck, we might be in trouble.
We're in 2025. We're gonna all make a short stack fur affinity.
Oh no. My girl's gonna have the biggest boobs.
Fuck yeah, cool, hell yeah.
That's it. Everything else that I wanted to say got said earlier. Yeah. I'm done crying. I'm done.
Okay.
No more crying, please.
Are we done?
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm tired.
Who are we shouting fuck at before we leave, even though it's not a roundup?
Oh my god, we don't fuck, what do
I guess we don't have to, but also, like, I feel weird if we end an episode of The Gorge we don't tell someone to go fuck themselves.
Oh, you know what? I know what we can just say, hey, the year's over. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck that year.
2024.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah,
fuck
you know what?
2024, though.
2024.
Fuck 2024.
I feel comfortable saying, despite the games in it that came out that I liked, like 1000 Extra Resist, just one of the worst years. Not in my life, just in general.
It had its ups, it had its downs. It was
mostly downs.
It was a tiring year. I'll say that.
2024 was the worst year of my life, and I'm glad to see it's gone. Let's all fucking hope that 2025 is better, or I'm really gonna do it this time. Not really.
And
Not
by do
really.
it, I mean we'll all
probably
get a house and
play more.
move to Portland.
We're all gonna move
Yeah.
to Portland, and I'm gonna smoke so much weed that I won't know who I am anymore.
Excellent.
And that's a way to deal with the horrors, I suppose. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Smoking tons of weed was the real Gravity Falls all along.
I got this
I'll
new
show you
strain. It's
Gravity
called
Falls.
Grunkle Stan.
This Grunkle Sand strain ain't shit. Me 3 minutes later. I think this book in the woods is from an evil pyramid.
There's an evil triangle.
You just,
And I think he wants to fuck me.
Smoking that gay triangle strain, yeah.
if you smoke enough Grunkle Stan, Seuss is just there.
Dude, you're too high.
Hey, dude, you want some Cheetos?
Now you got to be careful if you're looking for the gay triangle strain, because if you get the straight triangle strain instead, you'll end up in control, which is not ideal.
Oh no, bad! You're having a bad time then. Yeah.
You do not want to be
that-
high in the Federal Bureau of Control. It will be a bad
February
time.
streaming plan to do Control, Ben?
Control-uary? That
Well,
might have
I thought
been
I think Controluary was originally January, and then we ousted it for God Handuary.
That's what it was.
Well, we'll see if Control-uary makes its reappearance.
These are the worst stream month names ever.
They get worse every time, and it just kind of makes me want to
No,
die.
you love it. You love this podcast. You're never leaving.
Why do you get worse at it every time? Do you think it's funny?
Yes.
Yeah.
This gives me a headache.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah,
love it.
exactly.
Yes.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Happy
Good night.
2025.